Good morning. It's August 1st. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where time has gone. I don't know where this year has gone, but it's August 1st. Like we're in the middle of getting kids ready for back to school. I am stunned that we have gotten to August. It happened so fast. It's probably because, well, we started trial with Karen Reed in April? So it feels like we've been in trial for forever. So today we've got, my in-ears are being weird. Today we've got lots to talk about because y'all have been asking me for updates on some of the cases that I have been covering since, well, with the Tati case since 2020. For those of you that are like, what are you even talking about? Don't worry, we'll do a road so far. But I went to go do an update because that case was supposed to go to trial later this month. And so I was like, hey, let's go look at an update for this case. I was expecting to find that we would have, the last final trial briefings and the last status conferences and stuff like that. That's not what I found on the docket. So we're going to go over the documents that I found, which are dismissals, stipulated dismissals with prejudice. We also need to circle back to Hayley Paige. A lot of you were asking for that in the chat the last few weeks, and it's hard to balance when I'm in trial. There's not really time to update some of the cases that are still in the, the documents stage. So we are going to do some case closed cases today. And then I was going to cover the state's response to the motion for new trial that Carrie Morrissey said was going to be filed by the end of day, July 31st. But that's not up on the New Mexico website yet. So did she file it? Did she not? Do I have foam on my mouth? Yep. Cappuccino. It's really good. Did she file it and it's just not up? I don't know. We'll see. So we're going to do all of the things and cover all of the things. So I see some of you in the chat saying we need a new trial. I need to catch up on all these cases before I jump into a new trial. Trust me, we need a minute. We can't just go trial to trial to trial to trial because it's not helpful. But one day we will have some other options for trial coverage, even if I'm not covering it. Don't worry. So with all of that, we have lots to talk about today and some updates and some, what else? Some Q&A. So we'll get to Q&A at the end, but I am not surprised by what I'm seeing from the documents in the Tati case, given her last video. So we'll talk about that. And then down the road, we'll get to a food court, but it's that time of summer where people are watching other things. Just don't put them in the chat because I know there's a lot going on today as well. People are watching other stuff. I get it. We're going to update this case. It'll be here for you. Replay crew, love you. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Sandra, it's on our mind. Do not worry. It's on our mind. It is on our mind. So we are going to talk about all of the things. Cheers, law nerds. We get to use a bumper we don't always get to use in all of this. We're going to use some case closed bumpers today. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's roll the intro. Let's get into it. If you guys are asking questions about other cases, other trials, I will ask me during the Q&A. We're going to cover what we're covering today. Ask me during the Q&A and we'll talk about it. So with all of that, let's go. You can stay up to date with. That's not the opening. That's the end. We're not done. It's not that fast of a stream. Emily, 4 minutes and we're out. Never.
Hey there. I'm Emily D. Baker, the internet's go-to legal analyst, breaking down the legal side of the pop culture and entertainment stories we can't stop talking about. I'm a big fan of the cursey words. I've been a licensed attorney for over 17 years, but this is not legal advice. This is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not. Let's get into it.
So before we get into all news Tati Westbrook, which don't worry, we are going to talk about another case that I had covered quite a bit on the documents. And there's some news stories about this case that I find to be a bit confusing. And so we are going to talk about what those news stories are as I'm trying to make, news websites, I swear, the advertisement auto plays on every news site. It's kills me, just kills me. But we're going to go through another website that we had covered that you guys had asked about in the chat to circle back on. And there has been some updated news on, and that is the Hayley Paige case. Don't worry, we will road so far for those of you who are unfamiliar, and then we will cover, I think we'll go over one of the court documents if we need to, and then we will cover we'll cover the news articles, and then we'll go to any of the court documents if we need to. So let's talk about Hayley Paige real quick. Some of you might remember Hayley Paige from Say Yes to the Dress and know that she's a wedding dress designer. Some of you may be like, what, who, huh? And that's totally fine. Here's the interesting thing about Hayley Paige. In her employment contract with JLM Couture, the company that she was designing bridal dresses for, she sold the rights for them to trademark her name, her given name, Hayley Paige. We have seen this in the past, and it is something that we always need to stay mindful of, because we have seen Prince. The reason Prince changed his name to, well, Symbol, is because Sony owned the name Prince, owned his stage name. Hayley Paige sold her name, and this has happened to, makeup designers, handbag designers like Kate Spade. It has happened to numerous designers and creatives when they are starting out. They agree to the company they're working with to let that company trademark their name in the category of the thing they're making. And that's what happened with Hayley Paige. The company paid to trademark her name in all of really the trademark categories connected with wedding dresses. And Bobby Brown Cosmetics. And the thing is, when you sell the trademarking rights, it is almost impossible to get them back. So at the beginning of this, when we were looking at it, I'm like, this is a tough fight as to the wedding dress industry. Hayley Paige allowed JLM to own and trademark her name. Do you remember what it said in the filings? Forever. It was in perpetuity. In perpetuity. So she sold the rights to her name to JLM Couture forever in the wedding categories. So when this was all going down and there was discord between her and JLM Couture, even though she was still under contract with them, they said, well, you can't go design wedding dresses under Hayley Paige. We own Hayley Paige in connection with bridal dresses, bridal shoes, mother of the bride dresses, bridesmaid dresses, all of those trademark categories. So Hayley Paige went onto social and was like, I can never use my name again. And it's like, well, in connection with these categories, yes, but you could go to Starbucks and order a Starbucks under the name Hayley Paige. When they were fighting over the trademarking of her name, the thing of contention was her Instagram account. And that's what sparked all of this. I was legally fascinated by this because it's one of the first times we've seen a company really fighting over a social media account, showing the value of a social media account. I think that Instagram account in the lawsuits, they said it started in 2012. So when she was an up and coming designer, but she was working with JLM at that time and started the Instagram account and posted some of her, personal behind the scenes, her life, and then also very curated content regarding her job as a wedding dress designer. Then she started taking brand deals on the Instagram account. There was a salad dressing one that was screenshotted in the lawsuit that they were really mad about. And so in all of that, we saw JLM suing essentially over the Instagram account, and the Instagram account was under Hayley Paige's name. She also had all that sparkles on the gram or something else and started doing other things on Instagram, but her main Instagram account, over 1 million followers on Instagram, that was the subject of the initial lawsuit. And the company said, hey, we own the trademark rights to Miss Hayley Paige, and all the derivatives thereof. So if you guys are asking, could she have just used Paige? No, it was all derivatives in connection with wedding. And so she had also put on the Instagram account that she was going to be speaking at a trade show in the wedding industry. And that was kind of the final straw for JLM, it seems. And they asked for an injunction during the pendency of the lawsuit to determine if they owned the Instagram account to stop her from using her name in connection with bridal and some other things. So the court initially gave the Instagram account to the company JLM and found in that initial that it was likely that the Instagram account itself, the Instagram account was the chattel. The Instagram account was the property here that they were fighting over, gave the Instagram account to JLM without Hayley Paige. All of her personal stuff came down off the Instagram. She was fighting saying, I started this in 2012. It's got my family memories, my behind the scene. This is my account. That's not what JLM said. JLM said, you started this Instagram account as a marketing effort in connection with us, and we helped you build this, and we worked with you on your social media, and we talked about what was on your social media. And this is a social media account that is Hayley Paige wedding dress designer, and we own the rights to Hayley Paige wedding dress designer. And so that was the fight back and forth over the Instagram account. And there was that initial injunction that gave the Instagram account to JLM Couture. That's where the case started. It went lawsuit and then injunction, and then it continued fighting for, 4 years. So, Mander Pander, I'm going to hold on to that question. No. So JLM got the rights in that injunction to maintain the Instagram account, but there were things they couldn't do with it to damage it. But it locked Hayley Paige out of that Instagram account, and it starts talking about how valuable social media presences can be. And the entire time this lawsuit was going on, I kept saying, look, legally JLM is in a much stronger position here, and it's going to be very hard for Hayley Paige. I said, but in court of public opinion, this is Hayley Paige, a personality who people love, who people resonate with. And if she walks away from the designs under her name, her audience is going to walk with her. So this was very much if JLM's not careful, they will win the lawsuit and lose the court of public opinion. And then the name Hayley Paige that they own is going to be worthless to them because of the way Hayley Paige, the human, has been treated in all of this and the way that she has expressed that on social. There were fights back and forth on social about what Hayley Paige could say. She was sanctioned by the court at one point for talking about this on social. But it was a very real possibility that they were going to win the case and she was going to win the court of public opinion. And so I think JLM Couture, company that everybody's like, I know who Hayley Paige is, but what the hell is JLM? Right. So it was an interesting thing because when we read through the contract and we knew that Hayley Paige had a lawyer go over the contract, it was all in the documents when we covered them a couple years ago. The contract was incredibly clear on what she was selling to them with her name. It wasn't a contract that I looked at and I'm like, oh, they are hiding the ball here. It was very upfront. Can we talk about whether it's predatory to own someone's name? We can talk about it, but for now, you can sell the right to trademark your name. Do I think people should? No. Do I think it should be required in contracts? No. But you can choose to sell it. If you want to sell your name, you can sell your name. Here's the thing, stage name. But even then, we look at Prince with the stage name. What we never learned in any of the documents, which is why I wanted to talk about this today, what we never learned was how much they contracted for. And the analogy I gave when we were going over this is it's like Hayley Paige sold a house that was a fixer-upper, because this was all done before she was on Say Yes to the Dress, which was all done in connection with this company. Like she and this company built Hayley Paige, the brand, together. And so the company, much like the music industry, is like, okay, but we built this brand, this band, this thing So, so now we own it. The example I used is it's kind of like selling a fixer-upper home, and then somebody comes in and remodels the home and adds a pool and does all the landscaping and fixes the AC unit. Emily, is this what you're dealing with at the moment? Is one of our AC units out? Are we on heat advisories in Middle Tennessee? We sure are. It's a delight, but the office is good, so we're good. So somebody buys a fixer-upper. I'm not going to start singing Frozen. Buys a fixer-upper, fixes it up, adds a pool, all the things, and then the original owner comes back and goes, "Excuse me, that was mine, and I'm going to move back in." And they're like, we did all this work. You're not going to just move back in." So that's where we were here in the Hayley Paige case. JLM, stronger legal position, Hayley Paige, stronger societal position, because if Hayley Paige wins in the court of public opinion, what value does her name have to the company that she's in this legal fight with? And her positioning on this legal fight was me versus big mean company. And they are silencing my voice. They are stealing my name. They are not valuing the artist. They are, the evil corporate empire. And that had a lot of sway. Of course, in all of those conversations, she didn't talk about the fact that she was monetarily compensated for that and had lawyers go over this contract and had the opportunity to negotiate this contract. But here's what changed. First, there were huge changes in non-competes, and non-competes were a very big part of this lawsuit. And there were massive non-compete changes during the pendency of this lawsuit, and that worked in her favor. Second, this went up to the Court of Appeal after the injunction, and the Court of Appeal said the company has not proven ownership of the Instagram account. So during the pendency of the lawsuit, the status quo is that Hayley Paige gets her Instagram back. And then at the end of the lawsuit, we'll figure it out. And it might be at the end of the lawsuit, not that JLM gets the 1 million follower Instagram account, but that Hayley Paige, if she still doesn't have the trademark to her name, she gets the Instagram account and has to change the name on it. That looked like what could be the outcome, but there was also the possibility that if she's not posting anything about wedding dresses, if that becomes her personal Instagram, that when the non-compete is done, if the non-compete stands up in court, that she gets that Instagram and her name, and the non-compete gets voided because the laws have changed. So they're in this lawsuit over this Instagram account, and because of the trademarking, fighting over the value of that account, and then the laws changed in the middle, and she won the appeal with regard to her owning the Instagram account during the pendency of the case. So it looked midway through like, hey, you've got a problem here, JLM, because now the law has shifted and the court of public opinion has shifted. I think in conversations about cases like these, and I appreciate that Hayley Paige has continued to have this conversation, there are hard conversations to be had about what contracts like this look like. The music industry is going through this too. What does it look like if you're a record label and you build an artist, but you don't have any ownership in them, but you invest the money in building them? What do those things look like, and where do those square together? And the industries are going to keep shifting because people have the opportunity on social to build it for themselves. Can they do that? Is it different when you have a record label behind you? I would imagine it is. I don't know. Never been a musical artist, but it seems that when you have a record label behind you, those things change much quicker. But then again, you look at an artist like Sir Mix-a-Lot, and I did an interview with him on the podcast, adore him. And he kept a lot of his publishing rights and did things in a very smart way so that nobody owns him. Same with Jelly Roll. He did a lot of the independent publishing work and blew up on YouTube first and kept his publishing rights. So there are ways to do it, but nobody knows that you need to do it unless you have the conversation about doing it. You know who needs to have the conversation? Rachel, we're going to do a whole music show. Megan Thee Stallion is still fighting with her record label, not over her name, but over deliverability. Yep. You know who needs to be worried about this right now? The Olympic athletes that are all, I'm sure, being hit up for name, image, and likeness contracts and agreements. Because the NC2A has changed. So amateur sports have changed, and you're allowed to have name, image, likeness rights. And everyone that is blowing up on social through their Olympic performance needs, and I don't think when you're an Olympian, like if you're going to play U.S. women's rugby, by the way I love these women, God damn it, I love these women so much. If you're U.S. women's rugby, right? If you're Alona Miller, who's gone from hundreds of thousands on Instagram to millions on Instagram, who is absolutely a delight. I imagine that the thing you're thinking when you're going to the Olympics is not what I need as an entertainment lawyer, but it's exactly what they need, because they are going to be hit up for name, image, likeness rights all over the place. And then the contracts they sign with the Olympics, we might need to do a whole Olympics conversation. Maybe we'll do this for members only with Olympians. But when you become an Olympic athlete, some of those rights go directly to the sponsors. So when Coca-Cola features Olympians, are the Olympians getting paid, or have they signed those name, image, likeness rights over to the U.S. Olympic Paralympic Committee while they're competing for the sponsors to use their name, image, and likeness? There are lots of conversations to be had about this and name, image, likeness rights. And Jeannie in the chat said, went to college with Alona. She was an absolute sweetheart. She seems like the person you'd want to go have a drink with immediately. Yes, hands down. So there is a lot of conversation to be had about this and about protecting. And it sounds weird, right? Everybody wants, you make fun of people being like, you got to protect the brand. But when you are an Olympian, when you are a wedding dress designer, when you are an artist, you have to protect yourself, your intellectual property, and your brand, because that's where the money is. Which is why JLM was like, hey, we'll give you this amount of money and then we'll build this thing and then we will be able to continue to cash in on that. Like, that's the investment, right? We're going to invest in building the Hayley Paige brand, which is also connected to a human. And then we own the Hayley Paige brand and we are going to recoup our investment down the road. And they do. I mean, in music, they don't always. In music, they recoup on some artists and never on others, which is why the contracts are so predatory. So with all of that, a lot of the headlines I've seen are Hayley Paige got her name back. That's not, I mean, yes and no. One in the appellate court got the Instagram account back. The laws changed and that forced a settlement. So let's go take a look. If the audio gets squirrely when I share this, which is why I've waited so long to share the screen on anything, if the audio gets squirrely, I'm going to lose my mind. Just so you know. Just like heads up. Oh, let's see. Where'd my reader mode go? No, that's not reader mode. Where is my reader mode? I don't see it. Damn it. Fail. Emily, that's an absolute 100% fail on not having reader mode on. All right, we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best with all of this, but streaming is dynamic. Designer Hayley Paige reintroduces herself after regaining name and social media after lengthy legal battle. Lengthy legal battle cannot be understated. We're going to talk about 2 lengthy legal battles here today. All right, renowned wedding dress designer Hayley Paige, famous for her appearances on TLC's reality show Say Yes to the Dress, is reintroducing herself. Allow me to... Emily, no, it's too early. Is reintroducing herself to the world after resolving a complicated legal battle. This was an incredibly complex legal battle. The legal work was really good in this legal battle, but hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in this legal battle. So this is coming from CBS News. Legal battle. The legal battle began around 2020 when Paige, at the height of her success, found herself at odds with her then employer, JLM Couture. The dispute centered on allegations from JLM that Paige violated a non-compete agreement, posted social media content that did not align with the brand. She was taking brand deals on her Instagram. Because why not? Because why not? And was probably getting paid money for them. Six-figure money. The dispute centered on allegations from JLM that Paige violated a non-compete agreement. Remember what I said about non-compete law changing from 2020 to now? Big changes to non-competes, and most of them are now void. So if the law changes while you're in the middle of a legal battle, does that impact you? Yes and no, but in civil, yes. Posted social media content that did not align with the brand and promoted her other companies without JLM's permission. JLM sued Paige, asserting that it owned her Instagram account. The appellate court differed. Her Instagram account alone had more than 1 million followers at the time. Paige denies that JLM ever owned the Instagram because they built it together. Paige alleged that when she was 25 years old at the beginning of her career, she signed an employment contract with JLM without counsel present. JLM says it was reviewed by her counsel, and in the things shared, she said it was reviewed by counsel. I don't know how a company can know if somebody is like, yeah, my lawyer reviewed it or not, but that was in the legal complaints. Emily, are we always putting on hand lotion while we're streaming? Yes. Why? I don't know, because now my hands are making me mad. Look, man, neurospicy sensory stuff, but my hands are pissing me off. So, so yes, if you hear me lotioning my hands, that's why. She said, I had blinders on early in my career because I was so hyper-focused on myself and what I could do for other companies. This is what musicians say as well, right? The labels bring you in and are like, we're going to make you a star. We're going to have your music everywhere. And artists are like, yeah, okay. And then they sign their lives away. And I don't know what the solve is for this, but I think talking about it at least helps, because there are solves around it, and we've seen that with individuals. So the agreement gave JLM the right to license to Paige's name in connection with the bridal industry. That's not accurate. They had trademark rights in perpetuity and beyond to her name and all derivations of her name. So it says, after a federal judge ruled in JLM's favor, the company took over Paige's social media accounts. JLM hired another designer to make dresses under her name, with Paige allegedly receiving none of the commissions or royalties. That's not what the agreements said. That's what Hayley Paige said, but that's not what the agreements said. The agreements still gave her royalties for a tail end of the contract, like from the end of the contract, the tail. But during the pendency of the lawsuit, she wasn't getting paid. So is entitled to it, but wasn't getting paid it. She says, I could not use my birth name in any business or commerce or even to publicly identify. Not exactly accurate. And I was also being restricted under a non-compete. That's true, which also meant I couldn't practice the trade I had dedicated my whole life and education to. The non-compete had a pretty long tail that she couldn't design in the wedding space. If she wanted to go design, I don't know, Olympic podium outfits, she could do that. But if you're a wedding dress designer, I imagine what you really want to design are wedding dresses. And when that extends to like bridesmaids dresses, if you design any evening wear, couldn't the company say, well, that could be a bridesmaid's dress? So I understand the conundrum here. I don't have talent like this, so I don't know what that's like. I'm a girl with a microphone and a lot of legal education, but I have no idea. Can you just shift that creativity? I think that would be challenging if what you love to do is make wedding dresses. That's beyond just making a dress, right? The wedding dress is like a moment. It said, but in May, that all changed. A New York court ruled in Paige's favor. That CBS News, where are your lawyers? It was an appeal court. So the appellate court ruled in Paige's favor, returning control over Instagram, saying that JLM failed to prove ownership. Paige celebrated by sharing joy on her Instagram, saying, my case has likely set positive legal precedent and case law for... Ma'am. for anyone and everyone who uses social media personally and professionally. I think in New York, it helps clarify what ownership means. And companies now are much more clear on what that looks like. But she signed this contract before social media. So that's, that's an ongoing conversation for people who signed contracts. It's like, again, to harken back to music, it's like musicians who signed their contracts before streaming services existed. They try to take existing contracts and wedge them into what the world looks like now. So the appellate court gave her back her social media for the pendency of the case. It didn't mean she wouldn't have to change things later. It goes on to say, upon hearing the news, Paige played her favorite song and danced around the house. She chose Make It Big by the Beach Boys. Love the Beach Boys, which included a lyric about seeing your name in lights and spelled out, making it a fitting celebration. My friends and I used to make not Backstreet Boys, Beach Boys, pre-Backstreet Boys, that too though, Beach Boys mixtapes in like junior high. Mm-hmm. Emily, tell me you were cool growing up without telling me you were cool growing up. My friends and I fucking loved the Beach Boys. And we're in band. And I got told I wasn't cool enough to listen to Bad Religion when I was listening to Bad Religion on a Model UN trip. That's a story for a members only live stream. Emily, do things from junior high still bother you? Is that not normal? Is that a neurospicy thing? I don't know. Either way, we still remember them, don't we? So she played Make It Big by the Beach Boys. The way I wish I could be in reader mode right now. Apologies. Despite the victory, the court upheld the non-compete clause. This would have gone up on appeal forever, right? Despite the victory, the court upheld the non-compete, which restricted Paige from designing wedding dresses under her name. To resolve this, Paige reached a settlement agreement with JLM, agreeing to pay $260,000, $263,000. So she bought her name back. This settlement allowed her to be released from all obligations and use her name again. So she said it's so fulfilling. In a statement to CBS News, JLM said it was satisfied that it had resolved its differences with Paige and wishes her well. They would have been in extended litigation based on the changes in non-compete laws for perpetuity. This would have been bouncing around appellate courts for years. And I imagine the negative PR because of these lawsuits had already made it so that making money under the Hayley Paige name wasn't going to work. So she bought back her name. So did she win back her name? Yes, because she settled, but she also bought back her name for over $200,000. Here's what I wonder, right? Is this the money that they owed her and they just called it a wash? Like, did this go from her bank account to them? Or because they were still selling under her name and owed her that money as a tail on the contract, did they say, this is roughly how much we owe you, we'll keep it, you take your name, and we'll walk away? Because I think the damage was already done, where the people who love Hayley Paige were like, we're not buying Hayley Paige knowing that Hayley Paige isn't able to use her name. Because if you love an artist, we saw this with Britney Spears too. When Britney was under the conservatorship, people are like, we love Britney Spears. We're not going to stream her music if that money's going to James Spears. Like, ugh. And is that the same here, where the damage is done because the consumer is like, no, I'm not buying anything under Hayley Paige's name if Hayley Paige isn't attached to it. And I think that's probably what happened here, because where's the value to them in the mix of this? So again, you can be legally right and still lose, because legality and morality are two different things. And in the age of social media, if a company is going to take on an influencer, it doesn't matter how good their lawyers are. JLM's lawyers were great. They did good work. But if the perception is that the contract is predatory, if the public perception is that this is a company beating up on a wedding dress designer, then there's no value to the company to that name. So with all of it, Hayley Paige was not in the legally strong position until the law changed. The Court of Appeal ruled on her side. The public supported her and she was able to buy back her name. Is this what I wish would have happened with Taylor Swift when her masters all got sold to Scooter Braun? Yeah, she tried to buy it back. She tried to buy back the rights to her music and they wouldn't let her. And you know what she did? She said, all right, motherfuckers. And I'm sure this is exactly what she said. You know, in my brain, Taylor Swift, like in her personal life, curses like a sailor. And I love this for her and for me. She said, all right, motherfuckers, I have re-record rights. Bet. And then we got all the Taylor's versions. But the reason Taylor's version was important, and for those of you that don't love Taylor Swift, stick with me. The reason Taylor's version is important is because it changed fundamentally the music industry. Taylor Swift scared the fuck out of the music industry because she reminded artists that without them, there is no value. So if the artist is at odds, the community will support the artist. And that's what happened here. JLM was within their legal rights, but the community supported Hayley Paige. So they're not buying a Hayley Paige dress, and then that has no value to JLM at all. And Taylor Swift was the one who scared the music industry, reminding everybody that A, who's afraid of little old me, B, that she's that bitch. And yes, for all of you in the chat saying, and that was because of Kelly Clarkson. Yes. Kelly Clarkson, who seems to be incredibly business savvy, not only that, but has a voice that'll give you chills, reminded Taylor Swift that she could and mentioned to her that she could re-record. So with all of it, when the community stands behind the artists, even if they're not in the legally strongest position, there are still wins to be had. And that's exactly what happened here. So Hayley Paige won her name back in settlement agreement, a settlement agreement that was forced after 4 years of what must have been hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal. But I imagine she feels incredibly relieved to be able to move on. Fragrant Nerd said, so is the lesson get good PR rather than good lawyers? No, you need both. You absolutely need both. So Kelly Clarkson, Ariane in the chat said Kelly Clarkson humbly says Taylor Swift would have thought of it eventually. Look, Kelly Clarkson seems to me like the kind of woman that is going to straighten your crown and be like, bitch, you got this. Don't forget who you are. Also, when I've been watching medal ceremonies, I've been seeing, you know, the athletes straightening each other's medals. It's, get it, ladies. It just makes me so happy watching people making sure that they're all good. It's just delightful. And that is such the grooming, the like, I got you, let me fix your hair and let me make sure you're ready is such a female friendship thing that is so special to watch. So with all of that, A, law nerds, the takeaway is never forget who the fuck you are. B, don't sell your name because that can still be sold and not everyone wins. Hayley Paige won because this was happening in the age of social media. Others have lost this battle because they couldn't rally anyone around them. Prince kind of did, but imagine what would have happened if Prince was fighting with Sony in the age of social media. Imagine how that could have gone. And we see this with artists again and again and again. But we get artists that stand up and change the industry. And Hayley Paige is going to help here because companies fighting over social media accounts are going to have to think twice. And if you are working for a company, because there are companies where depending on what you do, if you're a designer, if you're a developer, the work you do outside of work can be the property of your employer. Make sure you understand where the boundaries are of that and spell it out. You're allowed to have your own social media accounts, but if you're posting a lot about work, could that commingle the things to the point where they own that asset? Yes, social media accounts can be an asset, make sure you know the boundaries, especially if you are in a creative field and an employee. So with all of that, Hayley Paige got her name back, her social media account back. JLM walked away with $200,000+ to compensate them for the trademarking. And that case, y'all, that case is closed. So we need to move on, but not before we get to close our case. From 2020 to 2024, the Hayley Paige case is now, well, it was in May, but we've been in trial, is now closed. So where is my case closed bumper? It's hiding because it's been so long. So, chat, a lot of you are telling me that there is a new YouTube video. Let's pull this up. We are going to, why is that now? Why is my keyboard just like what we don't do is type? Miguelina, can you throw me a link on that? My keyboard won't type. Is that a new and interesting quirk? Sure is. Oh, wait, I got it now. Hold on. Let me pull this up. But we are at case closed, and that is a pretty cool thing. Why won't my keyboard type? Let's see. We are pulling up hold on. We are pulling up Tati's YouTube channel, and the first thing I see is it's over video called Moving On. Am I going to play that right now? No, I'm not. That's her video. What am I going to do? We're going to go through the legal documents, but it looks like she has put out a video today saying it's over, and there's a little gavel. So I imagine this is her talking about the lawsuit. Miguelina, we can link this down below. We're going to go through the case documents, and then we'll get to this if we need to get to this. So thank you, everybody. We're going to go to the documents first. So this is what our documents are saying too. I'm interested to see what she has to say, but also in the early phases of a video, I'm not going to like stream snipe Tati. We're going to go through the legal documents because you guys want to go through the legal documents, right? We want to talk about Tati's case settling. The way you guys have been asking me about this case, and I appreciate all of you are just like, when are we circling back? When are we circling back? I thought this was going to trial at the end. Here's a little behind baseball. I thought this was going to trial at the middle end of August. So when I'm looking at the cases we need to cover and I'm looking at the breakdowns that need to happen, what I'm looking at is, okay, who's going to trial first? And do we need to catch up on those cases like Girardi and others? And where do we need to catch up on those things? And when do we stack them closer in time to when it is news that you guys are interested in? And how do we break that down? And where does that go in time? So in my mind, when I was looking at my calendar and all the things coming up later this month, I was like, okay, we can do a Tati Westbrook update right before it goes to trial. She's going to be in trial like 2 weeks, and then we'll circle back after trial. Well, no trial. So we are going to go to the 2 stipulations of orders and orders for dismissal with prejudice. And we will go through those now. Then we will go through some of the other stuff. But this has, again, been a 4-year battle. For those of you who are like, Tati what, Tati who? Don't worry. I'm going to give you the background because this one's extensive. Megan in the chat said trail canceled, if you will. Yes, trail is canceled. Trail is absolutely canceled. So when I look at stacking how stacks and stacks of lawsuits, when we talk about it, I try to stack them in time, either when something has just happened or when something is going to happen. So it's in time with what people are interested in talking about and with, giving balance to the other things that we need to circle back on. And there are many that we need to circle back on. So are we ready for those of you who don't know who Tati Westbrook is and don't know anything about these cases? And I say cases because there are many. YouTuber Tati Westbrook is a OG beauty guru. If you've been around the interwebs back in the days of the YouTube beauty influencer, which is one of the spaces in YouTube I watched, I often watched through the beauty influencer commentary community because I love a commentary. I'm a commentator. I love a commentary. And it's the only way I could keep up with everything that was going on during Bye Sister, Hi Sister, Dramageddon 1, Dramageddon 2, Carmageddon, the remix, Sharknado, and the rest of it. So Tati Westbrook is an OG beauty influencer from back in the days of YouTube before beauty influencers moved to 60-second videos on short form content all over the place. Back in the day when people did full day wear tests and long reviews of products, and before every video was just an Amazon link. You know, back in the days, the 2017, 2018, 2019. So I watched all of the Dramageddon, Carmageddon, all of it unfold, and was fascinated. And then in October 2020, these lawsuits started to spin. And it happened in such wild, quick succession that I was like, what in the law is happening here? I had watched all of the things go down, and then these lawsuits were like wild. So during the James Charles, Tati Westbrook, Bye Sister thing, after that, these lawsuits were kind of on the heels of that. But Bye Sister ended up being somewhat connected to these lawsuits. And in October 2020, Tati Westbrook's business partner filed a lawsuit against her. And the first line of that lawsuit was, "This is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed." And it proceeded to not only spill the tea, but throw Tati, James under the bus, name dropping everybody in the beauty community from James Charles to Jeffree Star to the rest of it. All of it. The incident at Coachella with Sugar Bear hair vitamin, my neck still won't go that way. Vitamins came up in this lawsuit. Dramageddon came up in this lawsuit. Bye Sister came up in this lawsuit. The lawsuit had all of the tea ever. And so I covered that lawsuit. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. And the allegations essentially were with the business partner for Halo Beauty. There was tea, and then there was like actual lawsuit. The actual lawsuit bit was over Tati Beauty. Tati Beauty released one palette. I thought it was amazing. I loved the Tati Beauty palette. I thought it was great. Tati Beauty released one palette. The business partner from Halo said, I am a business partner for all things Tati. I own a part of all things Tati. That's what James and Tati Westbrook told me. That's what I'm entitled to. You can't launch Tati Beauty without me. And I am entitled to part of the proceeds and everything going forward. Down the road, and I don't remember what year that was in, but down the road, Tati closed Tati Beauty because of all of these lawsuits. But that palette volume 1 was stunning. I'm sure a lot of you are sad that there wasn't a Tati palette volume 2. It seemed like there were going to be multiple volumes. So, October, business partner lawsuit drops. Then, Tati sues a YouTube creator. For all of you that are going to ask, no. Just like TikToker, we don't name people who have engaged in wild behavior. So Tati sues a YouTuber. And I was like, that's interesting, because that defamation lawsuit seemed to mirror what was going on in the business partner lawsuit on its face. So I looked at the business partner lawsuit and I looked at the defamation lawsuit and I went, that's wild. Because those things seemed deeply connected. The Tati Westbrook sues YouTuber defamation suit ended up settling because the YouTuber agreed to settlement, and it was very clear that the YouTuber was getting information about Tati Westbrook, the businesses, James Westbrook, and the rest of it from the business partner. And the business partner lawsuit was the big fish in all of that, not the YouTuber. They had sent the YouTuber cease and desist. Content creator is going to content create and be like, meh. So that lawsuit settled. If this had gone to trial, that individual either would have had to testify or a deposition, if it was taken, a video deposition would have been used, because part of the ongoing business partner lawsuits, and there's like 5, part of the ongoing business partner lawsuits is that the business partner leaked business information to this YouTuber to damage Tati Westbrook and to damage the business. So that defamation case brought us monuments to the gods of speculation and a bunch of other wild shit. There were filings. Do you remember? It was like a Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve that filings were dropping. My name was in them all the time. There was a 300-page filing. One of the YouTubers' filings, the lawyer filed something that you couldn't even legally file anymore. Yes, the washing her hair. But at the same time, there was extreme harassment for people that were covering that lawsuit, for people involved in that lawsuit, for lawyers involved in that lawsuit. I got doxxed numerous times in the course of covering that. It was wild. And I was like, it's a defamation suit. The way you don't even know. The 45 line paper. And the filings were constant. The posting on social media. Tati left the internet during this period of time. There was so much posting going on. And I will make clear, because I don't want it to get misconstrued. Part of the doxing for me was from parties not directly involved with the lawsuit. So I am not accusing anyone involved in the lawsuit, because I don't want that to get misconstrued. I am not accusing anyone directly involved with the lawsuit with doxing me. It was people around the lawsuit that were engaged in that, not people directly involved in the lawsuit. So I want to make sure that doesn't get, because that will cause drama in and of itself. It was wild. So there are playlists here if you want to see all of the wildness. It was bananas. So the YouTuber settled the defamation case for, it seemed to me, giving them all of the information about the business partner. And then that person made a video and Tati made a video and all the rest of it. So then the business partner lawsuits continued to wild out. The business partner originally filed in California. That was not the right venue. Then simultaneously filed a lawsuit in Washington. Then there was a lawsuit filed by Tati and then by the business partner in Nevada. So then the California lawsuit gets dismissed for wrong venue. The Washington suit gets pulled into Nevada, and everything else gets pulled into Nevada. So in Nevada, there's 5 different lawsuits that are all one lawsuit about different parts of the big lawsuit. And the big lawsuit is really business partner in Halo Beauty says, I was promised a part of all things Tati Westbrook, everything she put her name on. And that's why I agreed to be a part of this. Tati cross-claimed and sued about invasion of privacy, about theft from the company, and quite a lot more. So these ongoing lawsuits are what was moving to trial. Then we got a ton more information early on in that lawsuit about what YouTuber was told by business partner, because it was in the filings in the business partner lawsuit, and business partner's like, fuck all y'all, I'll do what I want. And then the business partner got ordered to sit for a second deposition, which never happens. The lawyer walked off and then filed a lien. The level of fucking drama in these lawsuits is not to be understated. I got multiple cease and desists. Emily, did you do what everybody else does and read them on the internet? Uh-huh. Sure did. Those are still up on the channel. Sure did. So from October 2020 to, August 1st, 2024, these lawsuits have been ongoing, and it's been like 5 or 6. It's where y'all met Saltz, right? Saltz is one of Tati Westbrook's lawyers, and the shade is delightful. It's not like, I don't know, maybe some people read it as snarky shade. I found the sassy footnotes delightful. Like the Carrie Morrissey shade has been coming across really heavy-handed. The Saltz shade was just like, it was so good. And yes, Queen Levine with the, she's washing her hair. 10 out of 10 amazing. 10 out of 10 amazing. So with all of it, we're going to go through these 2 stipulations for dismissals with prejudice. Why are there 2? Well, there's 2 parties in these lawsuits because there are so many lawsuits. And it looks like Tati has talked about it. So we'll see if we can. Why is my, could something work smoothly? Let's pull up these documents this way. No. Emily, why does nothing want to work? I don't know. Somebody put mercury in the microwave or something, and now nothing wants to work. Give me 30 seconds and we'll pull this up. But that was hopefully a helpful recitation of what's going on with all of this. So let's pull up the first document. We'll go from there. This is the Tati Westbrook stipulation for dismissal with prejudice. And let's see if it will share. Hopefully it will. The way that the tech is just fighting me for my life at every single possible second is crazy making. But we will soldier through. All right, this is filed by all the attorneys for Halo Beauty Partners, Halo Beauty Inc., James Westbrook, Tati Westbrook. Here's the things. These, what you're going to see in the captions, are all of the lawsuits. So this is, for those of you who don't know anything about this, when we're looking at business litigation, this is a fascinating business litigation because it has so much like deeply legally nerdy business lawsuits. Halo Beauty Partners LLC is suing Clark Swanson as an officer of Halo Beauty Partners and Swanson Global Enterprises as a corporation and a member of Halo Beauty Partners LLC. Because there are corporations suing corporations and individuals suing individuals. Then there is the Halo Beauty Inc., not Halo Beauty LLC, suing Clark Swanson, an individual, as the director. Then there is Clark Swanson as an individual, the business partner, suing Halo Beauty Inc., the company up here that's suing him, as a cross complaint or a counterclaim. This is when Sandoval is like, I'm not suing Ariana. Do you see all the titles here? These are all individual lawsuits. These are counterclaims or cross complaints, depending on what jurisdiction you're in. Clark Swanson is suing Halo Beauty. Tati and James Westbrook are suing Clark Swanson. And then Clark Swanson and his company and Halo Beauty are suing Tati Westbrook. What do you mean Halo Beauty is suing Tati Westbrook? The company is also suing Tati and James Westbrook. Would any of you, if any of you have bought Halo Beauty, would you buy it if it wasn't a Tati product? Don't you buy it because it's hers? Isn't this the same as Hayley Paige? Like, does Halo Beauty really mean anything without Tati Westbrook? So Clark Swanson and Halo Beauty Partners sued Tati. All of it. Those are the lawsuits we're talking about. Good God, y'all. All right. It is hereby stipulated and agreed between Halo Beauty Partners LLC, Halo Beauty Inc., and James and Tati Westbrook collectively, by and through their undersigned counsel of record, and Clark Swanson and Swanson Global Enterprises, by and through their undersigned counsel of records, that any claims or counterclaims brought in any capacity by any party are dismissed with prejudice. Done. Done. It's done. All of these claims are dismissed with prejudice. So stipulated yesterday, July 31st, signed by all the lawyers and signed by the court. So when I went to the court docket, what I saw was that the trial date was vacated. I was like, what? Because of this. Because of this. So, the court having reviewed the foregoing stipulation and order for dismissal with prejudice, it's hereby ordered that any claims and counterclaims brought by any party in any capacity are dismissed. Everything is done. And all parties, regardless of claim or counterclaim, bear its own fees, costs, and expenses. In Tati's last video, this one just went up this morning. In Tati's last video, she talked about it costing her, at a minimum, $500,000 to go forward to trial. So I imagine that that is part of the consideration here. 4 years later, 1 million lawsuits later, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, in legal fees later, to look at another $500,000 to win what? Declaratory relief for the judge saying you're right and you're wrong. What does that get you? So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised that this settled. So there's the certificate of notice, and that is the entirety of this dismissal and order. 4 years later, dismissed with prejudice. This has to have settled. What are the terms of the settlement? They're probably confidential. And if they're not confidential, then they're probably in Tati's video. But let's go look at the other stipulation and order for dismissal with prejudice. So we're going to pull that other document. And then we'll go look at the last pretrial document. Why? Just because we can. Just because I'm curious. And we'll go look at what I was pulling before when we were prepping this. Is this the same? That's the same one. Where's the other one? Because there are two. Are there not two? Maybe no, that's the same one. So that's the entirety of the dismissal. I thought I had pulled two. It looks like I pulled one. Let me go look in one more place in case I labeled something wrong. Is that possible? Yeah, and likely. Possible and likely that I labeled something wrong. And then we'll go look at the last pretrial motions. But will we know what the terms of that settlement are, other than people being able to talk about it in whatever capacity or not they're able to? I don't know if we will know much more. We know that each party is bearing its own cost. We know that it's dismissed. Everything is dismissed with prejudice. Suits, countersuits. This was going to be a 3-week trial at a minimum. And at the end of the day, the things that could be won were mostly declaratory relief and some monetary relief, but it doesn't unwind the company unless the parties agreed to that. Like the trial can't do that. So let's see. I have 900 different files on this because there were so many different lawsuits. So that's not it. No. I have listed every single filing that I wanted to go over today, and they're not pulling up properly because, well, why would we? Streaming is also like, girl, maybe we should just do trials all the time. Maybe you should never pull up documents again. I'm not going to do that, chat. But that's what the tech issues are giving me today. They are giving me let's just not. So let's see. That's the stipulation and notice. Oh, this is the unsigned one. So there were two, one signed by the court, one not signed by the court. I downloaded them both and they are the same. The one I showed you is the updated one that is signed by the court with the notice attached. So two things, they are the same. There we go. Let's take a look at the last court hearing. We have the minutes from that calendar call, and we're just going to pull those minutes up real quick because this is what they were preparing for before this settled. It's a fairly brief minute order, but we're here. Why not pull it up and go through it real quick? And then we'll go see if Carrie Morrissey filed anything. And again, I will just link you to Tati's video. Everybody's like, the computer is still traumatized. This case, the amount of documents I have regarding this case is excessive. It's excessive. There were so many filings. All right, this was July 11th. This was their final pretrial conference. Quite a lot went on in this case. There are hundreds of docketed items, including the fight over the business partner being deposed and having to be redeposed because he wouldn't answer any questions or wouldn't directly answer the questions asked. And the lawyer quit after the deposition. Wild stuff. So these are all the parties present, lawyers on lawyers, journal entries, colloquy. They discussed the upcoming trial. Court advised counsel that they potentially had the option to go to the overflow court if they wanted, upon which counsel advised they'd like to meet and confer regarding possibly going to the overflow. The court ordered the matter continued to 8/13, and that was going to be their last calendar call before this went to trial at the end of the month. There is one other docketed matter where the court was talking about this being a 2 to 3 week trial. Let's pull that one up too. I think it'll be helpful. So why not? Are you guys interested? You're like, we're interested. We're ready to go. We're ready. Let's just go look at one last thing of what would have been before this case settled and was dismissed with prejudice. Because that's the only way that happens. All right. As I've switched browsers, it's made everything complicated. All right. This is filed jointly by the attorneys. This is a joint pretrial memo. Yes, it's 80 pages long. Are we going through all 80 pages? No. No. Brief statement of facts. Given the contentious nature of this action, each party presents its own brief statement of facts from their own point of view. This is why this trial is going to be so long. This is why. Plaintiff's view of the facts of this case. I should have read this first. This is what we get when we do first looks. Smart Emily would have read this first. We'll fix it in post. Miguelina will put this part first when I give the summary. I like my summary. This one probably doesn't say washing hair. This dispute began. This is a lawsuit because of greed. Plaintiff's view of the facts of this case. I'm not stating that as a fact, by the way. I'm stating that as hyperbole because that's how the lawsuit stated the very first line of the very first lawsuit. Look, to the business partner's lawyer's credit, the lawsuit was written for the media to be like, ooh, what's the tea? And that lawsuit starting with that line brought you into ooh, what's the tea? Ooh, what's the tea? Plaintiff's view of the facts. The dispute began out of a friendship between James Westbrook and Swanson. James and Swanson were close friends for some time before the dispute. That friendship began to break down after Swanson convinced the Westbrooks to go into business with him. Nutraceuticals. As he constantly failed to deliver on his promises and subsequently sought to stifle the Westbrooks' success. James is married to Tati Westbrook, who is an incredibly successful YouTube beauty influencer. They didn't list charisma in here, and now I don't know what to do. James is married to Tati Westbrook, who is an incredibly successful YouTube beauty influencer. Swanson at the time, was a businessman who was working in the nutritional supplement business with a company called Renuzin, something. During the time with that other company, he never successfully brought a product to the market. Swanson saw an opportunity to work with the Westbrooks to develop beauty supplements, also known as nutraceuticals. That is on everyone's bingo card for this case. Monuments to the gods of speculation and nutraceuticals. And have Tati promote those products through her social media. The Westbrooks agreed and entered into business with Swanson, forming the company Inside Out Beauty Labs. Inside Out Beauty Labs was doomed to fail from the start. The company was supposed to be run by Swanson alone, in which he would develop, manufacture, bottle, and produce the product. The Westbrooks would then promote the product. Given this arrangement, Swanson was obligated to fund and would subsequently own 50% of Inside Out Beauty Labs, and the Westbrooks together would fund and own the other 50%. Swanson proved to be unmotivated and inefficient. Inside Out Beauty Labs never brought a product to market under Swanson's direction. The Westbrooks, anticipating that this joint business venture would be an utter failure unless they intervened on August 1st, 2017. Oh my goodness, look at us on the date and day. August, I had forgotten that. August 1st, 2017. The Westbrooks and Swanson met at his apartment in Marina Del Rey, California, and discussed their future in business together. The Westbrooks explained that to make the nutraceutical business work with Swanson, they would need to increase their investment and would need to take a more active role in the business. Tati would be the CEO of the business and its spokesperson. James would be the COO and handle the development and operations. Swanson, given his experience in supplements and finance, would be the CFO of the business and lead to the development of product formulas. Swanson also agreed to put aside his various side projects to give more effort towards the business endeavor. As a result of their new understanding, it was determined that the new business would require more capital investment, more operational investment from the Westbrooks. They would form a new company where each partner, Tati, James, and Swanson, would have 1/3 ownership in the business. We'll get to Swanson's part of all of this next. The new business would be called Halo Beauty. It would be focused on developing nutraceuticals that were all-inclusive, meaning they were designed and marketed for everyone, regardless of age, race, sexuality, or gender. With that goal in mind, Swanson developed several formulas under the Halo Beauty brand that were successfully marketed by Tati. Their definitive agreement was finally memorialized after several months of negotiation into the bylaws of Halo Beauty. Initially, each of the partners performed their roles, and there was a large degree of success. But soon, the business relationship began to sour. Even though Swanson promised to give his full dedication to Halo Beauty, he began working with various other companies. His work with other companies distracted him from Halo Beauty. Numerous product launches were either postponed or abandoned, and Swanson was unable to timely develop formulas and products as promised. In addition, Swanson failed to pay vendors on a timely basis, which harmed the business and its reputation. In short, Swanson failed to fulfill his obligations to the company. And this is all leading up to 2020, when things could then not be manufactured. Around the same time, Swanson began to behave oddly. Oh God, I remember all of this. I remember all of this. Around the same time, Swanson began to behave oddly. He would attempt to set secret meetings for himself with the Westbrooks. He would attempt to set secret meetings for himself with the Westbrooks' connections in the beauty industry. This led to several awkward and inappropriate interactions between Swanson and Tati's business colleagues. Swanson also had the tendency to post and share inappropriate things on social media. The Westbrooks were concerned with these interactions and confronted Swanson about them. Ultimately, Swanson entered into an oral confidentiality agreement with Halo Beauty. Those can be definitely hard to enforce, in which he agreed to cease communicating with all media outlets and social media influencers. Under this agreement, Tati would be the spokesperson of the Halo Beauty brand, not Swanson. As the business continued, the business relationship between Swanson and the Westbrooks continued to sour. Partnerships, the only ships that never sail. Swanson continued to engage in a variety of outside businesses, and the Westbrooks determined they would limit their future exposure to Swanson. The Westbrooks decided that Tati would expand into the color cosmetics space. As a result, Tati launched Tati Beauty Color Cosmetics business without Swanson. Swanson was made aware of this and even attended the launch party for Tati Beauty. He was congratulatory of Tati and her success with Tati Beauty. But as the months went on, Swanson grew jealous of Tati's business success and then came the COVID-19 pandemic. Initially, the Westbrooks and Swanson spoke daily as everyone worked remotely. During this time, Swanson was raising money for one of his businesses called Flavicure. Oh, we knew that was coming. We knew Flavicure was coming up at some point. Likewise, the Westbrooks were also working on developing a fragrance business with a team in New York. Eventually, it was revealed to Swanson that the Westbrooks had started a fragrance brand without him. Swanson spent weeks being combative to James and abusive to Tati, and despite James's best efforts to broker a peace between Swanson and Tati, the relationship became irrevocably broken. In June of 2020, the Westbrooks told Swanson they could no longer work with him in the day-to-day operations of Halo and would either have to buy him out or they could operate the business until Swanson could be bought out. The Westbrooks attempted to incentivize him to step aside, but their offer was met with a demand letter from the attorney to give Swanson 100% of Halo Beauty and 1/3 of Tati Beauty plus $30 million. Okay. Throughout this process, Swanson began to rewrite history. Again, these are the facts from Tati's perspective. We'll get to Swanson's perspective next. Through this process, Swanson began to rewrite history. Swanson insisted that the Westbrooks had agreed to give him 1/3 of any beauty product ever launched by Tati, even if he had nothing to do with the development or sale of the products. He insisted that color cosmetics should have been launched under Halo, even though Swanson has never developed a single color cosmetics formula. Swanson's false claim is not supported by the bylaws that memorialize the party's agreement. Furthermore, it's not backed up by his actions of attending the launch party, nor his positive attitude towards the Tati Beauty launch, which included having his daughter review the makeup on YouTube, which was uploaded to YouTube. Nevertheless, the Westbrooks refused to give in to his demands, and he began a crusade to destroy Halo Beauty and Tati along with it. Oh, here we go. There it is. This is extensive. In violation of his confidentiality agreement, Swanson began secretly communicating with a drama channel who was a known enemy of the Westbrooks and Halo Beauty. That's an interesting phrasing. The drama channel was known for spreading negative information about the Westbrooks, Halo Beauty, and Swanson himself. Soon after, the drama channel started publicizing private and damaging information about the Halo Beauty brand and the Westbrooks personally. The drama channel began crediting her quote-unquote secret source as someone inside the Westbrook camp. Yep. This is a really good recitation of what happened. I should have just read all of this first, but okay. This clearly violated the confidentiality agreement previously entered into between Halo Beauty and Swanson and was done with malice and the intent to harm the Westbrooks and the Halo Beauty brand. On the eve of launching another business as the CEO of a Bitcoin mining company, Swanson, a Nevada resident, filed a lawsuit against the Westbrooks in California. That's number one. In that lawsuit, Swanson committed perjury with a verified complaint, falsely claiming the Westbrooks were residents of California. There was so much fighting over jurisdiction in these lawsuits. None of you want to hear international shoe ever again, even the ones of you that didn't go to law school. He claimed they were residents of California. He knew that they were residents of Washington. Additionally, it was revealed that Swanson had secretly recorded the August 1st, 2017 discussion between the parties. And despite the agreement being later memorialized in writing, he insisted that Tati had given him 33% of everything she ever did. It was that very recording that Swanson attempted to leverage in November 2020 when he called Tati's childhood friend and attempted to force the Westbrooks to settle with him, or he was going to release it and destroy her career. And this is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed. This is why all the shade was in the lawsuit. Like all of the tea was in the lawsuit. This is why they think it was there. Finally, Swanson largely abandoned his duties to Halo Beauty to build his Bitcoin mining company. Oh, Bitcoin. Was he an investor in CryptoZoo? I'm teasing. He's not. Okay, so called Tati's childhood friend and attempted to force the Westbrooks to settle. Finally, Swanson largely abandoned his duties at Halo to build his Bitcoin mining company, during which time he failed to pay vendors, failed to collect sales taxes, and generally failed to maintain the books and records of Halo Beauty. Eventually, the Swanson, California lawsuit was dismissed and Halo Beauty sued him in Nevada. Swanson's effort to destroy Halo have resulted in damages to Halo Beauty. The company has lost substantial profits based on Swanson's actions of dragging Halo Beauty. dragging Halo Beauty and the Westbrooks through the mud. Defendant's point of view. Here we go. We're switching gears. That was the Westbrooks side. This is the Swanson side. Defendant's view of the facts of the case. Prior to this dispute, Clark Swanson and James Westbrook were besties. It doesn't say that. And entrepreneurs who regularly discussed business ideas. Clark was working on a supplement company that he had discussed with James multiple times. James and his wife Tati were running a YouTube channel where Tati would review and promote various beauty products, primarily makeup. Eventually, Clark, James, and Tati decided to form a company and develop nutritional supplements, and Tati would market them on her YouTube channel. The first iteration of the company was Inside Out Beauty Labs. Clark agreed to formulate and develop a hair, skin, and nail supplement that Tati would market. Clark owned 50% interest in Inside Out, and Tati and James jointly owned the other 50%. On August 1st, 2017, the three of them met at his condo in California to discuss the business. They agreed to record their meeting. This was sued over because there is disagreement about whether or not that was surreptitiously recorded or whether that was consensual. California is a two-party recording state. That's why this comes up. It was one of the sub lawsuits in there somewhere, and I think it was actually beyond the statute of limitations and got yeeted 2 years ago. But it was one of the things that was in there. He says they agreed to record the meeting. James and Tati were upset with the equity split in Inside Out. During this meeting, James and Tati convinced Clark that ownership of their enterprise should be equally split between the three of them, with Clark, James, and Tati each owning 1/3. In exchange, James and Tati agreed to rename their company Halo Beauty and expand its product line to comprise of broad spectrum beauty products, including skincare and makeup. Tati stated that she wanted to build a brand that Halo Beauty could tap into products like a wet line or cosmetics or skincare. She also stated that she would prefer for it to be under an umbrella than just do a vitamin and then we grow a brand. James also analogized Halo Beauty to an umbrella that would do Halo Beauty nutraceuticals, Halo Beauty skincare, and Halo Beauty cosmetics. Once Clark had agreed to their proposal, Tati stated she would be much happier moving forward, and she hoped Clark felt, quote, like we're ready to build a brand and not just a fucking bottle of vitamins, but the whole thing. Tati acknowledged that she was, quote, throwing her entire brand on the table for the three of us. In addition to increased equity, Tati and James also took control of the business. Tati was CEO, James COO, Clark was to formulate the supplements and act as CFO. Tati's YouTube channel would be Halo Beauty's sole marketing engine, and Halo Beauty would sell directly to consumers. Halo Beauty launched 2 of Clark's formulas in 2018 to great success. Unbeknownst to Clark, during this time, the Westbrooks were secretly negotiating to breach their agreement with Clark and partner with a cosmetics manufacturer to launch a line of cosmetics outside of Halo Beauty. In April 2019, the Westbrooks finally came clean, telling Clark that they had signed a deal with John and Laura Nelson, owners of Seed Beauty, to launch a line of cosmetics called Tati Beauty. Halo would not own a percentage of Tati Beauty. Although disappointed, Clark continued to work with James and Tati on Halo Beauty and discussed his issues regarding Tati Beauty with James. James claimed that Tati Beauty would benefit Halo Beauty and promised to fix everything. That should probably be in quotes, but including bringing makeup back under the Halo Beauty umbrella. James never made good on the promise. After the October 2019 launch of Tati Beauty, Clark began to realize that James and Tati were no longer dedicated to Halo Beauty, but were primarily focused on Tati's new venture. So Clark is saying he thinks they were all in on Tati Beauty to cut him out. They're saying Clark was fucking around with like cryptocurrency and Flavicure and the rest of it and not doing his job. And everybody's like, this isn't working. Then in early 2020, Tati stopped making YouTube videos. Are we going to talk about why? Oh, I'm surprised if we don't get to why. But again, these are like Clark's third lawyers. So there's a level of conciseness and seriousness that I appreciate from their recitation of the facts. In early 2020, Tati stopped making YouTube videos. The CEO and sole marketing source for Halo Beauty had completely abandoned the business. Unsurprisingly, Halo Beauty's sales were decimated once it lost its most public advocate. Yeah, but that's how this works. Nick said third lawyers. I think it might be the fourth, but I think it's the third set of lawyers. There's still an attorney lien from the last set of lawyers that walked out after the depositions. So good to see you, Nick. And yes, Halo Beauty was dying on the vine. Again, Halo Beauty doesn't have any, I can't say any. I'm sure there's value in the formulas and stuff, but does Halo Beauty have market share outside of Tati selling it to her audience? Are you going to go to like CVS and pick Halo Beauty over, I don't know, any of the others of an entire like floor to ceiling of colorful supplements that all say that they're skin, nail, and hair? Like, isn't why you buy this because you're supporting a creator that you like, or because you've heard other people that like that creator talk about them liking it. Also, I think there was an issue with manufacturing during the pandemic as well. So Halo Beauty was dying on the vine. Rainbow 910 says Emily needs to interview the lawyers that walked out after deposition. They still have attorney-client privilege, so they can't really, the things that you would want to know, they can't really tell us. So as much fun as it would be, they can't, and this is why I'm not a journalist. I'm not going to ask people questions I know they can't answer, because I would never do that. They still owe an attorney-client privilege to Clark, unless a lawsuit ensues. And if Clark ever sued his lawyers, then there's times when lawyers can defend themselves, but generally no. So I know, I get it, but sadly, no. There is inside baseball that we will never know in all of this, and that's always frustrating. When you're doing the commentary, you don't always know the inside baseball. It said Halo Beauty was dying on the vine, and Clark was forced to take legal action. The Westbrooks greed. There it is. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, I need a bell on here. Hold on. There we go. Just for good nature. There's the greed. The Westbrooks greed, breach of their August 1st, 2017 contract. By the way, we read through the recitation of their agreement when this lawsuit was first filed, because Swanson put in their all of their agreements. He was the one that memorialized the agreements to writing after that August 1st, 2017 meeting. And after months of negotiations, it was months and months and months later that they signed the operating agreement for the company. Most of this wasn't in the operating agreement. He wrote the operating agreement after they negotiated it. So from the beginning of this lawsuit, I'm like, right, but that's not what the operating agreement says. Like, and you wrote it. So if you wrote the operating agreement and the understanding was you owned a portion of everything that Tati put her name on, wouldn't you have written that into the operating agreement? That's where I got lost on this at the very beginning. But the tea of all of it was a lot. And at the time, nobody was covering lawsuits like this that were really specific to YouTube. So in this space particularly, because I think a lot of the lawyers, this was not their space on, like, this was not what's in their algorithm. Is this what's in my algorithm? Yes. So he was saying he was forced to take legal action because of the Westbrook's greed and the breach of the August 1st, 2017 contract. The breaches of fiduciary duty to Halo have ruined a once successful company that had limitless potential. These actions have damaged Clark individually and Halo Beauty as a company. Prayer for relief. This is what the parties were asking for. Laura M said, is it because you watch Peter Mon? It wasn't just Peter Mon. It was a lot of the commentary channels. Nick and Dustin and others. It was yes. Yes and yes. Yes and yes. But I was also watching the beauty influencers. I still can't do a smoky eye, but you know, it's also what I was watching, you know, but, and, you know, what's in my bag and do we like this new lip gloss? Back when there were, new beauty launches, like every 3 months, like the pre-pandemic consumerism of beauty, there were launches all of the time. I don't, Yardia, yeah, no, yeah, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get that correct. And I apologize because my brain is moving the letters around in a way that is not helpful to me. But yes, Bailey makes it look so easy. And I love Bailey's videos. There's no way I can do makeup like her. Also, stunning human. Yeah, Dia. No, I'm still going to get it right. Sorry, yeah. Yes, Dr. B, I'm trying to pronounce things and my brain's not working. What's up?
Just got home. I wanted to peek in to see if you were good.
Come say hi to the chat. Now you have to say hello.
I'm not in hair and makeup.
So you're not in hair and makeup? Is that what you just said? This chat, the chat loves you. They're just like,
it must be the filter.
There's no filter. Do you think there's a filter? Does it make us look younger?
Yes, it does. It does.
Chat says hi, Dr. B. How are you?
Hello. Good. Like I said, I just came in to make sure you had water, goods.
We're good.
Do you need anything or?
We're good. No, we're all good. We made coffee. We had all the things. We're talking 2020 cases that are now closed. 2 of them from 2020 that are finally closed. Yeah.
I think I saw Tati Westbrook. That was the first big one.
It sure was.
It's closed.
It's closed.
Yeah, your neck is still stiff.
I know my neck is still stiff. I'm trying to look at you, but I was looking at you in the camera. You know we're under heat advisory still. Please don't go digging in the yard. Love you. No, I'm serious. Can you wait till later?
You don't want to find me like passed out on the grass?
Correct. That's exactly correct, sir. That's exactly correct. Like Shakira. Yadira, that was very helpful. Thank you. I have no phonemic awareness. This is something that is very hard to explain that I didn't even understand, but I have no phonemic awareness. So even piecing it out, I can't parse sounds together well, which I didn't learn until speech pathologist helped explain it to me because it was something that Griffin was struggling with. And I was like, wait. So the speech and language pathologists that have worked with my kids have helped me learn so much about my own brain and why it doesn't work. But anyway, thank you so much. I think I've got it. You're like Shakira, Yadira. That's perfect. I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you guys for my patience with all of my neuro spiciness. For all of you complimenting my husband's teeth. Yes, maxillofacial prosthodontist. You sounded like my mom telling my dad to wait to play in the dirt because it's too hot. Yes, I'm that wife. The artful colorist said a French drain can wait. Exactly. The French drain's almost done. I'll let you know how it's going, but he's been having the best time with the yard work he's been doing with the kiddos, but it is way too hot today. And what I don't need is my husband like passing out on the lawn because it's too hot. I'm like, can you just wait? He's loving it. I mean, we all enjoy like doing the work things in the yard. There's something satisfying about a job well done when you're like planting things and redoing things, but he's French draining the whole front of the house. So it's a whole thing. So anyway, so Dr. B, I'm just like, the same way he needs to remind me like, hey, you need to leave the house in 30 minutes. So I need you to switch tasks now. We look out for one another. We do. We look out. So Emily in the chat said, Emily, I know you'll never mispronounce my name. Emily, it's fair. All right. So can we get another Ask Ian Dr. B? We'll do another one. We will do another one. So he is definitely a fancy dentist doctor, and now professor, but he's lovely. One of the things we're going to get back to finishing reading the claims, but one of the things when we started dating, he's like, you have really lovely teeth. I was like, I mean, people have said a lot of things to me in my life, but no one has ever. Thank you. I was like, I appreciate you, babe. And he's like, but there are some chips in them. I'm like, right, well, we didn't wear mouth guards when I played water polo. So yeah, there's chips to my teeth from getting punched in the face or an elbow or whatever. So yes, a few of my teeth are chipped. Look, if you are in a sport where getting hit in the face is on the table or in the pool, a mouth guard will help keep your teeth from getting chipped. So, all right. Let us continue on and read what they were asking for, what they were trying to resolve, because I think it's important to understand how we get to a settlement, because what they're going to get at the end of a trial, or could have gotten at the end of the trial, hopefully is illuminating to whatever happened here. So, somebody said it's like dating a nurse. Melissa said it's like dating a nurse. Wow, you have great veins. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's just fantastic. So let us continue all the thing. Goddess of hard solder. My husband tells me the wrong times to leave so I can get ready and be on time because ADHD. My husband tries that with me, but then I correct for it. And then if he told me the accurate time, I'm late. So we actually just, we have little like meetings, and it's like, okay, what are we doing today? Where do we need to be? And then we work backwards. Team Baker helps me do this too. When we are traveling with Team Baker, we have a team meeting at the end of the night. It's like, okay, where do we need to be tomorrow? And then we need to work backwards on, we need to be here at this time. How much time do we need to get ready? When do we need breakfast? And then we work backwards. And then I get a text message with all of that laid out so that I can do it. It takes a team. We need help. Okay. So, Mary, sometimes they wear mouth guards, sometimes they don't. It really depends on the person. They have some thin ones, but not everybody wears them, but yes, they can. All right. Claims for relief. Plaintiff and defendants have the following remaining claims for relief. This is what they were going to go to trial on. I should swoop. Of course. This is what they were going to go to trial on. Halo Beauty Partners claims, breach of contract. Swanson, by extension, entered into a valid and binding confidentiality agreement with Halo. That was an oral confidentiality agreement. That one would have been a more challenging cause of action. So they were suing for breach of contract. They were suing for breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. I think that's probably an easier one, saying you're working with this company. What you don't do is spill their business secrets to someone who wants to harm them, right? Someone who wants to undermine the business. So that's that. So they were asking for, again, financial repercussions from that. Breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. Third claim, as partners in the business, intentional interference with contractual relations. Again, that is monetary damages. Halo Beauty is seeking nominal damages related to this action. And you'll see they are seeking pre and post judgment interest. These are all monetary damages. There's nothing here that's going to unwind them all working together. These are just actual compensatory and special damages. All of this is damages. So this is like, you suck, pay us this amount of money. And maybe a jury tells one party they're right. So the intentional infliction with intentional interference with contractual relationships, conversion. This was actually a pretty wild cause of action. I think this one probably would have been fairly easy in all of this. Defendant, this is the Westbrooks and the company really asserting that Swanson diverted assets from Halo Beauty for their own use. Specifically, defendant Swanson diverted assets to pay for Swanson's personal expenses, salaries, and health insurance benefits for Swanson's future mother and father-in-law through the company's payroll and assets. They were never hired and they never worked there, but he put his future in-laws on payroll and gave them health insurance. That's one of the claims that's asserted in all of this. Halo Beauty was the rightful owner of these assets. Halo Beauty is seeking actual and compensatory damages and pre and post judgment interest as well. Accounting, they were still fighting over getting all of the books straight because they allege was not keeping the books, so they didn't know. This is the company Halo Beauty, I think International's remaining claims. Conversion, the company is bringing a claim against Swanson for diverting assets. The Westbrook's remaining claim, declaratory relief, that is the judge saying this thing. The court is asking for declaratory relief regarding the illegal recording of the August 1st call. They are seeking the court a declaration that the recording was illegal. It may not be used in future civil proceedings. So they were trying to keep the recording out of the civil proceeding that was going to trial, had no legal right to possess or maintain the recording or transcript, and they're entitled to an injunction to prevent the use of it. Defendant's claims for release. These are Swanson's claims and counterclaims. Clark Swanson's claims for relief, fraud in the inducement, saying that James and Tati induced him to give up his part of the business by saying he would get a part of all things Tati, and then that's why he gave up the 50% ownership of the business. Constructive fraud, Clark relied on multiple material misrepresentations his business partners made for him to reduce the ownership in the venture. Fraud, he's saying James and Tati made misrepresentations of their intent to expand Halo Beauty beyond just nutraceuticals. Fraudulent misrepresentation, that they made multiple misrepresentations to Clark about the intent of the future of Halo Beauty. Negligent misrepresentation, that they same misrepresentations about what the future would be, about what other businesses they were getting involved in. Negligence, gross negligence, conversion, arguing that Tati and James wrongfully asserted dominion over Clark's property, including his equity in the business and money that should have been paid to him. Hey, I'm entitled to 1/3 of the business and you didn't pay me all the proceeds from the business. Unjust enrichment, that they have retained for the benefit equity without compensating Clark for it. Negligent infliction of emotional distress, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Those are the claims that there was distress over one of the in-laws that had a heart attack. It was hard to follow. It's still hard to follow. I think a jury would have been like, what? Breach of contract. Prior to Halo Beauty, Clark, Tati, and James had agreed to a 50-50 split for Inside Out. That on August 1st, they agreed with him to form Halo and that it would be all things Tati, but forming Tati Beauty was a breach of that contract. Breach of implied covenant of good faith. This is, they promised to not start other businesses outside of Halo, and they did. Accounting. Clark is requesting an order of the court for the Westbrooks accounting, so they're fighting over that. Reformation. Due to the Westbrooks fraud, the court should reform the agreement reached on August 1st. That's not well taken to me because Clark was the one who memorialized it, but it was going to trial. Preliminary and permanent injunction. The court should grant injunctive relief and compel the Westbrooks to give plaintiffs real-time access to all the books of the business, prohibiting the Westbrooks from causing the business to undertake any action not in the interest of the business, so to stop any lawsuits. Conspiracy, that James and Tati conspired to breach their contract with Clark, and that breaches all the other duties that they had up above. Estoppel, you can't make these arguments because you made them somewhere else. So this was equitable estoppel, and that the equity and divisions needed to be kept as above. Halo Beauty's derivative claims. This is Clark Swanson suing Halo and Tati and James on behalf of Halo. If you're like, what? We're in like advanced business litigation with derivative claims, but it's company suing members of company on behalf of company. So again, breach of fiduciary duty, but being brought by the company, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, then the negligence, gross negligence, dissolution, asking to dissolve the company, and putting a receiver in place. I think the only case we saw with a receiver is the Murdaugh cases. So affirmative defenses. And then these are just your list of affirmative defenses. We're not going through all of them because this is all done. Defendant's affirmative defenses as to all of the different actions. And these are lining out all of the issues remaining at trial for a jury. If your head is swimming, the length of jury instructions being read on this, and we're 22 pages out of 80, the length of jury instructions to read through all of those claims would be well over an hour and a half, if not two. to go through all those different claims. If you're looking at Tati's video, not the video that dropped today, but Tati's video that was updating the lawsuit where she was talking about potentially settling and a trial potentially costing $500,000 plus, the amount of outstanding claims between Tati, James, their company, Halo as a company, Swanson's company, Swanson on behalf of Halo as a company, is excessive. This would have taken weeks. So unwinding the who did what to whom and the which company is responsible for what, at the end of the day, there was one request that the company dissolve, and all the other requests were for money back and forth. And then some requests for the court to say who was right and who was wrong, but ultimately a request for the jury to determine whose side of the story. When we read through the plaintiff's version, like facts, plaintiff's version, defendant's version, what they were going to be asking the jury is to decide whose version of the facts is correct and then who breached those agreements. The confidentiality agreement that the Westbrooks are alleging Clark breached was a spoken agreement. Those are much harder to enforce because there can be misunderstandings. But Clark is saying enforce this other spoken agreement and understanding from the 17th or from August 1st, 2017, even though what they put in writing was something different. So there were just difficulties both ways. But stuck in all of this, ultimately, is Halo Beauty. Tati chose to close Tati Beauty in the fight of all of this, and I understand why. If you're fighting with a business partner like this, do you want to keep making money in a company that they might try to take from you in litigation? No. Also, the way people buy the way people buy makeup, I think, has fundamentally changed, or at least the way I see companies launching makeup has fundamentally changed. All of it has slowed a bit. Like, we have had major shifts in the way that we do things since Tati launching Tati Beauty. And so all of the marketplace and the landscape has changed in the 4 years that this lawsuit was ongoing, just like it did for Hayley Paige. So at the end of the day, are you looking at a business partner going, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to go to trial. I don't want to go to trial for weeks and let a jury decide that I might have to pay more money. Because now you're, if not millions, you're hundreds of $1,000s, probably millions, actually, with 4 years of how contentious this litigation has been. This is me speculating, but based on everything, you're probably millions of dollars into litigation, looking at going to trial and spending $500,000 plus to go to trial. And then if you lose on any of these counts, then you're paying more. For what? Then they might pay you some and you might pay them some to walk away with a company that you still don't want to work with each other in. So all of these causes of action are asking for monetary damages. You breach this, you breach that. So this goes through the different parties, all the parties that could have gone to trial. There's a lot of addresses in there. I'm zooming because I don't know if all of those go to, I don't know if all of those are going to go to lawyers. And let me actually take a look. So I don't know if these should all go to lawyers, but these are all the witnesses. And some of this testimony is going to be presented via deposition, including YouTubers' testimony. It says will be presented via deposition. So if anybody was curious, that would be presented via video deposition. Edith Fisher, another individual, to be presented via video deposition. And then experts, like lots and lots of experts when I'm looking at this witness list. But I'm going to leave this off screen because I don't know about every single one of those addresses. It goes through the objections to different witnesses. So this has written out all of the witnesses, potential witnesses, objections to witnesses, which is why it's 80 pages long. This lines out what the entire trial would look like. It's a lot of witnesses. Like it's a lot of witnesses. Let's see. And then it goes through the contested issues at law for 20 pages. So this trial would not have resolved quickly. It would not have resolved easily. And then the joint exhibit list, hold on, we'll pull this up. The joint exhibit list is Exhibit 1 through, we're just going to scroll for a minute. Do I know how many pages it is? Nope. No. No, I don't. No, I don't. Text messages, emails, videos, emails, motions, agreements, emails, text messages. Exhibit E's. Henderson Police Department response. Interesting. T-Mobile bills. Email to Upfluence. Great to speak with you. Emails, T-Mobile bills, conversations. Those must be email or text conversations or DM conversations. Those are not audio, so those are going to be memorialized somehow. These are Swanson exhibits, so you can tell. Hold on, let me zoom back. You can tell whose exhibits they are based on it saying who what at the beginning. So, phone bills, conversations with and without whom, emails, calendar entries, spreadsheets, Google Analytics, lots of Google Analytics. And those are Halo Beauty exhibits, lots and lots of analytics. We're not done yet on the exhibitees. More Google Analytics from the company. We're just going to keep going. I hope you guys are all saying exhibitees in the chat. Exhibitees came from Daryl Brooks because it was a misstatement by the prosecutor, and it was so damn endearing that I was just like, I get it. We're still in analytics, by the way. These are all different pages of an Excel spreadsheet. Can you imagine? We're only up to like April 2020 with this Excel spreadsheet. Can you imagine spending a day looking at Excel spreadsheets as a jury? Some of you are like, yes, give me all of the tea, show me the numbers. And some of you are like, if you make me sit in a courtroom and look at spreadsheets for an entire day, no, thank you. These are Excel spreadsheets, Shopify Analytics, YouTube Analytics, subscribers from 2017 to 2023, YouTube Analytics, subscribers lost, YouTube Analytics, total views, transcription of remote proceedings in the California cases, and then on and on. These are still Halo Beauty's exhibits, the trademarks, all the trademark filings, emails back and forth, corporate meetings, and then credit card statements, which are always fascinating to look at. We're over 400 exhibits now. I'm still scrolling exhibits. Why do I say that for those of you that are just listening? Purchase orders, Wells Fargo bank statements, more Excel spreadsheets of the general ledger. We're upwards of 500 exhibits now. W-2s for everybody, tax returns, general ledgers, payrolls. We're 560 exhibitees, quarterly financials, more payroll documents. These are for Edith and Heinz Fisher. Those are Clark Swanson's, I think now in-laws, but future in-laws at the time. Payment reports, Wells Fargo statements. We're over 600 exhibitees, invoices, meeting minutes, subpoenas, wire transfers, more emails, merger agreements. Let's see, Schedule K ones for different companies. Lots of emails. Let's see, more emails. These are all Halo Beauty's exhibits. Emails on stacks, veritable stacks of emails. Stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of emails. So many emails. On and on and on. We're over 790 exhibits now. We're still in emails to and from mostly the Westbrooks and others. Meeting minutes. Let's see. Text messages. We're over 800 exhibits now. Halo Beauty Inventory and Financials. Oh, YouTube videos. Let's see what YouTube videos were going to be exhibitees. If this had gone to trial, these are the YouTube videos that might have been exhibits. Get Ready With Me Chit Chat, Marriage Babies YouTube Drama, Tati Talks Anxiety, Vegas Tragedy, Snapchat Story, My Brand Announcement, XO's YouTube video, Responding to Questions, Concerns, and Accusations, Confessions, Get Ready With Me, Chat, All My Fears, Speaking My Truth, I'm Done Being Quiet, Assumptions Tags, My Marriage, YouTube Sponsorships, more. Tati Westbrook Instagram story about James Charles. Ethan Klein on Tati Westbrook. Wait. How? Oh man, are we gonna have to circle back to some of the other stuff that was I don't even know if the stuff with Ethan Klein and Weinstein or whatever his name is are still going. So Ethan Klein talking about Tati Westbrook, Tati Westbrook's Bye Sister original video, Tati versus James time lapse, James Charles live subscriber count, Tati Why I Did It, Our Invisible Illness, How We Deal with Endometriosis, Product Fails, James Charles reveals he attempted self-harm over Tati, drama, Snapchat story, another Snapchat story with the same names, how Tati Westbrook became the villain in her own story YouTube video, a D'Angelo Wallace video, Tati Westbrook aimed for James Charles, it hit her instead. A year later, Clearing the Air, Why I'm Closing Tati. There's a lot of YouTube videos in this. Why I'm Closing Tati Beauty. Tati Westbrook is quitting again because of this. I don't know whose video that is. Breaking My Silence. Tati Westbrook just dropped a wild Breaking My Silence video and torched every YouTuber ever. Entertainment story and video. New home tour. Get Ready With Me Q&A. Tati Westbrook, the coronavirus and privilege. Shocking beauty faves. I'm obsessed. Oh my God, there's more. James Charles drags Tati Westbrook in latest post YouTube video. Okay. And now we're on to expert reports. We're over 800 exhibits. That's a lot of YouTube videos in the exhibit list. Like, that's a lot. That's multiple pages of YouTube videos. Can you imagine the jury duty? And you're like, wait, we're watching Bye Sister? Can you imagine explaining Bye Sister to someone who doesn't spend time on the internet, like who doesn't YouTube really? Can you imagine sitting at a jury trial over business derivative claims and then all of a sudden watching Bye Sister and Breaking My Silence and the rest of it? I can't even imagine what trying to explain this to a jury would be like. I mean, magic, but how do you even summarize it? Right? When I say the U.S. Attorney's Office should like tap in a special like housewives division, I mean it. You need an expert. Nick in the chat is like, I'll be the expert. Right. Sir, what is your expertise? YouTube. Let me explain. Riveting. It would be riveting. So all of the YouTube videos. Oh, we're at the end. Oh, 894 exhibits listed in the joint exhibit list. Wow. So the trial that is not going to be settled. What they settled for, I don't know. Did all of you in the chat immediately let me know that Tati Westbrook posted a video today that has a gavel in it? So yes, I'm sure there will be some explanation, but also oftentimes settlements are confidential. So there are limits on what can be said. So I'm interested. I'll let you know. I'll post it. I'll let you know what we think. But it says moving on. And the title of the video is moving on. Here, we'll just do it this way. Let's see. The title of the video is moving on, and the It's so funny because it keeps autoplaying and it shows that I've watched it. Does that count as a view if it autoplays? But the title of the video is moving on, and then it says it's over. And then you've got the gavel in it. So I imagine this is about these documents that were filed yesterday. So Luann said she spoke about it for a second and moved on. Well, there's that. So when she talked in the last video, she was talking about whether or not she would give up and walk away from Halo, whether or not it was worth going to trial for maybe $500,000, well, $500,000 to start and then more. I don't know how much money they've spent. I will speculate that it is probably over $1 million at this point, if not more. At a minimum, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But with 4 years of contentious litigation, I would think it would be more than that. Settlement agreements are confidential. So will we get to know the terms of those agreements? Probably not. Will we get some information about the future? Maybe. Will we know more about what Tati is doing in the future by what she does in the future? Sure. But you know what that means? You know what that means, you guys? It means that this case is closed. A lot of you found this channel. This channel grew because I was riveted by this lawsuit, and then it spiraled into wildness that I never, ever could have imagined. But when that business partner lawsuit dropped, and I was like, this is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed, I was riveted. Riveted. There was so much tea in that initial lawsuit. I was like, tell me everything. I want to know all of this. And you guys were here for the pop culture lawsuits and talking about the pop culture lawsuits. And 4 years later, we're still here talking about the pop culture lawsuits and trials. And there's always got to be a balance before or between the pop culture lawsuits and the ongoing trials, because I love the pop culture lawsuits. I want to know the tea. I want to know what's happening. I want to know all of it. But when this dropped and I started seeing the news headlines about it, I was like, what? And then I knew I wanted the documents, and then I grabbed the documents, and y'all wanted the documents too. And we're like, let's do this. We read documents on the internet and talk about them. And hopefully it helps people understand the law and how deeply complex. This isn't just a business partnership breaking up and a friendship breaking up. This is a deeply complex business lawsuit with how many cross complaints? I'm gonna count. Main complaint, Halo Beauty Partners versus Clark Swanson as an officer. So main complaint, second complaint, counterclaim, counterclaim, counterclaim. This was going to trial on 5 lawsuits. That's not counting the original business partner lawsuit that was dismissed. For those of you asking, can we play the video? I'm not sure the stream will survive us playing the video. We've been having a lot of issues with it. So let's go to questions, and then we will see at the very end. But this initial lawsuit was wild. So maybe we'll give a summary and then we'll play a case closed. After going through the order for dismissal with prejudice, meaning that all of the lawsuits, all 5 of the lawsuits that were in this action that was getting ready to go to trial between Tati Westbrook, James Westbrook, their business partner, Clark Swanson, and business entities that some of which they co-own and some of which they individually own and some of which are owned by other business entities, with all of those 5 lawsuits being dismissed with prejudice, this will not be going to trial at the end of August. So we went through that dismissal. Everything is done. The parties bear their own cost. This indicates to me that there is a settlement agreement. While I was streaming, Tati Westbrook dropped a video on her YouTube channel titled Moving On, with the text on the thumbnail saying it's over. This all indicates to me that there is a settlement agreement. Settlements are confidential. Unless the parties speak about any of the terms that they're allowed to speak about, we probably won't know much about it. What we do know is that this was a contentious and wide-ranging 4 years of litigation. This all started in October 2020 with the business partner suing Tati and James on behalf of the business entity with that first line, "This is a defendant." No. Yes, no. This is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed. And that lawsuit had legal claims in it, but also a whole lot of shade. And that popped off the shady footnotes. It spawned multiple other lawsuits, including lawsuits with other individuals that were then tied into all of this. It was a wild and multi-state. The original lawsuit filed in California. There were lawsuits filed in Washington, and then everything was consolidated in Nevada. So 3 different states, which means for the Westbrooks and for the business partner, they would have needed counsel in California, counsel in Washington, and then counsel in Nevada. That is an extensive amount of litigation. And then we went through the pretrial document that is filed, breaking down what the causes of action are, and there were tons of them, what the claims were, what the objections are, what the parties' positions are, and we went through the divergence of opinion on what happened with all of this. Tati and James saying that the business partner wasn't doing his job, and that's why they all decided the company should be divided 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And the business partner saying the only reason I gave up 50% ownership is because Tati promised that anything she did would be under the Halo Beauty brand, and therefore he would be entitled to 1/3 of all things in the future. That is the core of the disagreement that has now been resolved. Tati closed Tati Beauty. What's going to happen with Halo Beauty? I don't know. I guess we'll see maybe if anyone talks about it or if something happens on the Halo Beauty website, because that was the company that these parties still owned. Tati and James owned 2/3 of the company, the business partner owning 1/3. But in her last video that went up before this one on the lawsuit update, she indicated that she was willing or contemplating walking away from Halo Beauty entirely. So I guess we will see where it goes from here. But from the monuments to the gods of speculation, to the motley crew of gossips, to the washing their hair, and the this is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed, this lawsuit is done. 4 years. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. I don't know how many hours of legal work. And, well, a lot of conversation on this YouTube channel about this case. It is finally case closed. Absolutely wild. I thought this would go to trial 2-3 weeks. It's going to be, it was going to be quite interesting. And we saw, I should have included it, but we saw all the YouTube videos that were going to be exhibits, over 800 exhibits, dozens of witnesses. Wild. So 2 cases that we started covering in 2020 are now closed. It's time to go to questions, and then we will see. So a number of you in the chat as we get to Q&A, Ice Baby and others are asking, and a lot of you are asking, what does Tati do next? It depends on the settlement agreement, but it really depends on the settlement agreement. I would imagine she will be able to choose what she wants to do from here. I don't know if there will be limitations, because this is all about Halo. I don't know if there will be limitations in that space. I don't know if she'll walk away from that space, if she wants to be in that space. But the world has also changed since these companies have launched. So we will see. Yes, Miguelina, let's go ahead and close the poll. I asked if you've been following the Tati lawsuits with me. 29% of you said at some point. 32% of you said here when it started. You're like, girl, this lawsuit is how I found you. And 39% of you were like, nope, because I imagine that you found me after. And once we started covering trials, we started galloping through all of the live trials. But hopefully the parties can move on and start to move forward. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm curious. I'll be keeping an eye on the channels that cover it and see if there's a launch. But I imagine that all the parties are going to need a minute. That 4 years of litigation takes an incredible financial and emotional toll. So I imagine that there will be a walk away from that. So we will see. Let's get into some of your other questions, and then we'll go from there. Nor said exhibit daddy stacks, the stacks of exhibits, stacks of YouTube videos. I didn't expect to see a YouTube video from Ethan Klein in the exhibit list. Absolutely wild. Saltz tweeted, all good things come to an end. For those of you new to this case, Saltz is Tati's local counsel in Los Angeles and has been on all of these cases, even when there's co-counsel from all the different states. So I'm not surprised by that. And Nick from Viewer's Voice said, I think Tati will have a new launch by November. I guess we'll see. I mean, this has to be a huge weight off of everybody's shoulder to just be done. But the thing about litigation is sometimes it still doesn't even feel done when you have to just walk away. And a lot of civil litigation, the compromise, people just aren't happy and they just need to be done and walk away. Susan, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Natalie said totally off topic and I'm 4 minutes behind, but Dr. B came in and all I can hear is the TikTok sound, paging Dr. B, emergency. I know it sounds like Dr. B to me too, even though it says Dr. Beat, but especially when all of the Olympians were changing into all their different gear, they're I don't know, casual wear to media wear to podium wear to competition wear. And they all used that sound. It sounded the same way to me too. Jen, good to see you in the chat, said, oh, so many Tati flashbacks. So glad to have found your channel way back then. I mean, it feels like it's been a really long time. I mean, it's been a long 4 years. It has not been a fast 4 years with these litigations, but it's been a great 4 years because I get to talk about law and pop culture and trials with the law nerds. So I'm grateful. Love Bailey Sarian, a bit of a crush too. I love Bailey Sarian. Bailey, not only does Bailey do amazing music, but good Lord, makeup. The way I struggle. Amazing makeup, but I love the way she breaks down cases. And I really enjoy dark history because I like learning things and I always learn things. Amun said, thinking of you, EDB, I am going to a water polo game next week in Paris. Amazing. The pool is built on a rugby arena. It's also where Taylor Swift had her concert. The U.S. women's water polo team went to see Taylor Swift in that arena and then we're playing. Have the most fun and have the most fun. Have the most fun. It'll be great. So that will be fantastic. Found Emily when this Tati thing first went down. I know a lot of you did. Monument to the gods of speculation. Oh, wasn't it so good? Wasn't it so good? So Meg the Medic said, found Emily through the Tati YouTuber lawsuit. There was a lot going on, wasn't there? Vegan Bart said, been a while. Since Tati, it's been quite a while, but y'all have been asking. I feel like every stream for the last 3 weeks, if not longer, it's been when are we getting an update? When are we getting an update? When are we getting an update? This is going to trial. And I'm like, we're going to get an update. And I sat down, I was like, wait, what the fuck? What? And the doc is like, trial canceled. I'm like, well, I guess we were going to update it towards the end of the month. I guess we're updating it today, which is why no food court today, because I thought you guys would be interested in this. And we got to do 2 case to close because the Hayley Paige stuff, I wanted to pull up too, and I've been seeing news articles about it. So I was like, let's just do it. Look, lawsuits are allegations and shade. And that conversation started with this case of going through, look, these are a lot of allegations. There are a lot of shady allegations. Will they be proven? Will they not be proven? Well, it's settled now. So allegations and shade. And it's a good thing to remember when we get into lawsuits that the parties are going to throw both the allegations and the shade around. And until you get to the end, you don't always know. But that was wild, wild times. Christina said, hi from Birmingham, eating dinner with y'all. Yay. I need to go eat lunch soon. I'm getting hungry. Jen K said, a fitting birthday stream. It's how I found you. Jen K, happy birthday. And right? I mean, right? Can you cover the Sarah Boone trial? Maybe. I need to see when it actually goes to trial. And it depends if it conflicts with other trials. So maybe. I'm not saying no. Maybe. It just depends on the timing of the trial, because their life is going to be very busy family-wise this year. And I'm also trying to accommodate the fact that life is going to be very busy this year. I've already started looking at my fall schedule and I'm like, this is going to be busy, but we know the fall is busy and we will see. Let's see. Can't believe your mug is from the Starbucks. It's too cute. It was, I like their Lunar New Year launches, and the Year of the Dragon was just too cute. Let's see. Scorpion said in the chat, this is a great question. Let me grab it. Sarah Boone is set for October. I just don't know if it's actually going to go in October. Like, I have no faith that that's actually going to happen. So we'll see. Scorpion said, EDB, I'm curious how they got on the phone without lawyers. Is everyone friends again? There's no way they got on the phone without lawyers. I imagine the lawyers negotiated all of this. Unless they went to mediation, it's also possible they went to mediation. But when you go to mediation in cases, oftentimes it is one party in one room, one party in the other room, and a mediator going back and forth and having the conversation. So the parties aren't speaking directly. So, Laura said she said no lawyers in her video. That's wild. I mean, I wonder if it was just, well, I'll watch the video and I'll let you guys know what I think in the next stream. Because I'm not, well, we'll see if we can try. Because if there were no lawyers, it might be are we done here? Are we done yet? But we'll take a look. So G Lander said, does the new non-compete law extend to other industries? Non-compete clauses are a thorn in the side of nurse practitioners like me. If we don't renew contract many times, we have to wait a year or more to practice in the same town. G Lander, let me, hold on real quick. I'm going to kind of direct you to what the FTC announced, and then you are going to have to ask someone about it. But on ftc.gov, they have, I'm going to pull this up and show it to you. And we can also put the link. Miguelina, I'm going to give you the link. We can put the link in the description so you have it. This is where you start, and then you have to talk to an attorney in your jurisdiction to find out how this impacts you. This is a starting point, not an ending point. So with all of that discussed, this is a starting point, not an ending point. The FTC announces new rule banning non-competes. It will generate, they say, over 8,500 new businesses each year, raise wages, lower healthcare costs, boost innovation. And then you can link to the final rule and read it yourself. This is their press release. This is their breakdown and what that means. There's summaries of this, but this is all on the FTC's website of what businesses are impacted, what industries are impacted, what's not included. And you can go through all of this and see what they had to say. The rule is effective now. This was the announcement in April. I think the rule went into effect in May. So you can go through the FTC's website and take a look at all of the changes, and then ask an attorney in your area that knows your field about it. And then you can also read the final rule. It's all linked and listed and broken down. It is 570 pages. So when I say talk to an employment lawyer, talk to an employment lawyer, but it will also be listed in the description. It's a great question. So hopefully that resource helps to be a starting point. But yes, this is something that is going to be litigated quite a lot. I would imagine coming up here. And Belle said, FYI, I never got a notification on the Lawnerd app. I got mine, and I saw a lot of people get theirs. So I would make sure that your notifications are turned on so they populate the way that you want them to. So double check that, because I saw all of those go out across my screen, but I would double check And make sure, this is one of the things we've noticed in troubleshooting this. I would also make sure that you have update in the background turned on so that the update in the background helps. So I would put that when you're looking at your app settings, I would do that there. So, and a number of you are saying it says it in the app, but it didn't pop up. So good to know, because I saw mine and it popped up and it was in the app, but good to know if a lot of you are saying you didn't get them. So I saw a number of you do and a number of you didn't. So we will know. Well, yep. All right. The messages are on in the app, but the red bubble that shows the notifications haven't been getting there. All right. That we can look at. So didn't get the notification, had to go into the app. We will take a look because some of you are getting them. So A, check your settings, and B, we will check on our end and make sure that you get them. So thank you for letting me know. And also check the update in background notification, and then we'll double check that on our end because technology is an adventure. And every time one thing changes, it changes something else. Serena said, I've been here since the YouTuber suit started. I mean, a long, long time ago. Rolling Along said, tech laughs at you digitally when you wanted to do something all the time. All the time. Honey asked me to please read McCamey Manor's liability waiver. I don't know what that is related to. So I'm sorry, I don't know. Fire Sneezer TTV said, EDB, my uncle was murdered in 2005 in West Covina. I'm sorry to hear that. Curious if you or anyone you know prosecuted it. I never worked in West Covina. I was hired into the office in 2006. So it was a little bit before my time and on the other side of the county from where I worked, but I'm sorry to hear it. And I hope that your family was happy with the prosecution because it is a very hard thing to go through. Paige said, I love that I can join while at work now. Paige, I love that too. Yay. Shima said 2 years of being a member. Congratulations. Artists should have right of first refusal. Tonks, there's a lot of things that should happen, but read your contracts, know your contracts, talk to lawyers. And I know at the beginning of a career, it can seem like I can't afford to have a lawyer review this. You can't afford not to, depending on what rights you are giving up, is how I look at it, even when it is hard. But the bigness of the contract that Hayley Paige was signing, she told them she had it reviewed by counsel. She later said she hadn't. So I don't know what you do with that as a company. Tori gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. And the thing with that too is that if an individual says, I had my attorney review the contract as you're getting ready to sign them, and the company can't provide you with a lawyer, they can't double check. There's not a lot they can do to get in between that process. That's awkwardly described, but the company can't be active in that process. They can't be like, oh, and go to this lawyer, because then that can be persuasion. That can be them sending you to a lawyer that's going to be like, oh no, it's great. We're friends with the company. There's a lot of room for that to go fucking sideways. So companies can say, look, you need to have this reviewed by an attorney. And they can say, confirm that you've had this reviewed by an attorney. And if an individual says, yes, I have, the company can't do more. So if you are signing away the rights to your name, whatever it's going to cost to have an attorney review that is worth it. Again, can't afford not to. Jamie's Crafty Corner said, hello from Casey, Missouri. How is everyone? I think the Law Nerd chat is good. 3 years. It's been a flash. Time goes so fast. Lori, NCT, it really does. It really does. Ashley said, came for the planners and got a beauty YouTube crossover. I mean, Ashley, you've been here since like the early days of the channel, the videos that we talk about on members only now. But yes, planners, tech, phones, unboxings, purses, all the, 2016, 2017 YouTube things before I left the DA's office. Debbie said, wow, member for 6 months. Time does fly. Getting kids ready for school as well. I can't even. It is going to be busy. Catching up on health checks by getting my mammogram done this morning. Congratulations. And yay for doing the adulty things. Jasmine said, been here since the pod was Get Legit Law and shit. I mean, Yep, it's been a minute. It got a rebrand. We've got some upcoming things going on with the pod that we'll be talking about in the coming months. Rolling Along said Prince was his real name and not just stage name. I had completely forgotten that, Rolling Along. Thank you. I had completely forgotten that, which is just embarrassing, frankly. Apologies. And this is why Chad is bae. Candy's Life asked this as we were going through the Hayley Paige stuff. Could she go by H. Paige or Hayley P? She couldn't, before the settlement, no derivatives thereof. So she couldn't, but she can now because she bought her name back. Mander Pander Salamander asked, doesn't JLM do Louis Vuitton too, or am I just thinking of another company? Louis Vuitton is under the LVMH brands, and LVMH owns quite a substantial amount of luxury brands, including Moet, Gucci, Vuitton, Tiffany, and a lot of others. But no, the LVMH brands are under a very large amount of brands. So that is that from LVMH. And have you guys noticed at the Olympics that all of the medals are brought out on a Louis Vuitton Damier Ebene tray? Do you think Vuitton's ever going to sell those? Wouldn't that be fascinating? But they're all brought out on Vuitton trays, which makes sense. It's France. It's a French house. So I'm not surprised. Kering Group owns Gucci. Why did I think it was LVMH? Because Paris. So, let's see. Mimsy, I thought the FTC ruling went into effect. I don't know if there's been a stay order on it. I thought it went into effect in May. But I would have to look, which is why I always say consult with an attorney. Casper Go said, no, Gucci is not owned by Louis Vuitton. Gucci is part of Kering, the other group. Louis Vuitton under LVMH is the Moet Hennessy. But what is the other purse group under LVMH? Now I'm curious. Because there was something else I was thinking of, and I don't know which one it was. Let's see. LVMH brands. Oh, the immediate thing that comes up is the Olympics. No, I want the list of brands. Can you just give me the list of brands? Because now I'm curious. Yes. Which maisons are under fashion and leather goods? All right. Christian Dior. That's what I was thinking of. Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton. Emily, just pull up your screen. What are you doing? Here we go. Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton, Celine, Fendi, Givenchy, Kenzo, Loewe, Vuitton, Marc Jacobs. There we go. Pucci. I didn't know that. They've got wine and spirit brands. So those are the wide variety of alcohol brands. Yes, they own Veuve. Yes, it's why Vuitton can make goods in the Veuve colors, because they own Veuve as well. And Tag and Tiffany and Bulgari, however you pronounce Bulgari, I don't even know. So all the things. Anyway, that is the conversation. Not Gucci, all the rest of the things. So, and then the Olympic and Paralympic Games with the Louis Vuitton brands, which is absolutely a huge part of all of the things. I've been fascinated, just absolutely fascinated. So am I going to go down this rabbit hole more? No, we need to answer questions. And then you all wanted me to watch. Are all of you cheering for France? I'm also cheering for the U.S. in swimming, but come on. It's been really fun to watch Marchand swim. And are we going to see him as a face of Vuitton? Is that going to happen? I don't know. Is that going to happen? So we'll see. Anyway, nice transition to Bob the Cap Catcher. The way I wish I could play that clip and know that the entire video will get taken down immediately, and I can't. But the Bob the Cat, I'll put it on Instagram. The Bob the Cap Catcher clip from Amy Van Dyken is hilarious, because you've got to get the caps off the bottom of the pool somehow. I mean, how else are you going to do it? So, all right. I'm going to answer a few more questions. We'll see if we can get this video to play. We'll go full reaction channel. Why not? Why not? Nancy Cat said, damn, nearly 3 years as a law nerd. There we go. Why would JLM care about her Instagram account? Jennifer, JLM said that they owned it and that was a work Instagram account. And then she was doing brand deals on it. And they're like, you can't do that. That's ours. But why would they care? Because it was profitable and it was how they were using it as marketing for their brands. So Erica said, I remember finding you with the Tati stuff, that case that started it all for me. I mean, at the time that the Tati lawsuits started, I think she was over 10 million subscribers on YouTube, if not at 11. Like the YouTube landscape has changed so much in 4 years, truly. But articles about Tati, videos about Tati, I'm sure that some of the commentary channels have talked about the shifts in the interest in like the TikTok community now and like TikTok drama and like, I don't know, 9-month cruise drama and the rest of it. Like there's other things like from the serious wild drama is very different from the like lighthearted 9-month cruise drama. So there's like a whole subsect. The beauty community stuff used to be kind of lighthearted and then it wasn't anymore. And a lot of stuff has gotten so much more serious. And so I've seen a lot of commentary kind of shift to stuff going on TikTok and stuff that's more lighthearted because there's a lot of heavy stuff happening on social media and that's tough. So Mike said, real question, will you be battling Mega Rayquaza this weekend? Probably a little bit. I don't know how much. It's going to depend on weather and how much my kiddos want to. Candy's Life said, I'm a proud law nerd. Thanks, EDB, for being such a great teacher of law. You're welcome. Hopefully it's helpful. Kersey Nursey said it's never too early for Humpty. I'm going to stop. Jay McCarthy said, as a creator, how do you tell what brand and sponsorships are legit? I'm always afraid to accept anything because I don't know what's real. Do you apply for sponsorships or do they find you? How do you protect yourself? Jay McCarthy, that is a much deeper conversation, but I now have help. I used to vet things myself. The thing that is concerning is a lot of things come from fake email addresses. So always check the full email address first. Do not open PDFs. There are a lot of YouTube channel takeovers that have happened because somebody clicked on a PDF from a brand. And I think one of the things to ask to do is get on a phone call. You can use a work phone number. If you don't have like a Google Voice number, get one. Use a work phone number and try to get on the phone with somebody. Most of those scams won't get on the phone with you. Do not open PDFs. Do not open PDFs. I have seen so many YouTubers that are like, I thought this was a brand deal and I opened a PDF. No one's going to send you a PDF until you've negotiated stuff. And if they do, don't open it. You don't need it. But there are so many scams that are using PDFs to hijack YouTube channels. Check the full email title. Google that email address and see what comes up. There are companies that are third-party companies that are fairly well known that sell ads. So you can, through a Google of the company name, start to figure it out. Do not open any attachments before you do those things. And then you can say, I'd like to get on the phone. Here is my, Google Voice number, or say, can we set up a call? Or say, can we set up a Zoom call? Send me a link and I'll get on a Zoom call with you. So one of the ways to protect yourself is having that conversation and then Googling. A lot of things that I have turned down are looking at BBB ratings. And then for me, is this something I use or would use? And if it's not something I would use, then it's not going to be sponsored. So there's that. Cat Fink UK said, as a cybersecurity professional, I endorse this message. Thank you. Yay. Look, the amount of content creators who are like, I was tired. I was trying to go through my emails at the end of the day. That's the other thing. Do not try to go through emails at the end of the day. Your decision-making is exhausted and your brain is more susceptible. I know emails suck. I don't like going through them either. Set aside time at the beginning of a day, a couple days a week, because then you're in a better position to go, my alarm bells are going off, but look at the full email address first. Do not open a PDF. Reach out to them to negotiate. And if they're just like, it's this, take it or leave it, no. You need to have a conversation with people. Also, free product is not adequate payment if you are making a dedicated video about something. So if they're like, yeah, we'll give you this product for free, you can make a whole video reviewing it. No. So with all of that, let's continue on with questions. Hopefully those little bits help, but I now also have help. You'll also notice we do things on the podcast that we don't do on live streams, and the way that we make those decisions are much more in depth and are probably only appropriate to our community, because we have a very unique community here on YouTube, which I live for. And so it's much more of a conversation with sponsors and who we're going to sponsor. So I hope that helped, Jay. I hope that helped. Adri said, I subscribed to Tati and watched one Legal Eagle video naturally. YouTube recommended Emily's breakdown of the lawsuits. Been here ever since. Did he cover the Tati stuff? I don't even remember. Janice C. Bob Ross too. I thought Bob Ross's estate owned his name. I need to go look. I thought Bob Ross's estate owned his name, but I will go look at that, because his stuff has been everywhere. Like toasters and stuff. Kelly Clarkson told Taylor to re-record Taylor's versions. Yes, which love. Jenny said, my son G's age just did it again. He called and said, Mom, Emily's live. Okay, love you. Bye. That's fantastic. Tell him thank you. Colleen said, there is a button at the top of your numbers block that upstairs. Your keyboard might have happened. Maybe. I don't see it, but sometimes the cats do walk on the keyboard. So I'm going to get to 2 more questions, and then we will go from there. Troublemaker Baker said, also be sure you know your unique channel ID, which is the numbers and letters at the end of the URL. You may need it to get your channel back if hijacked. Yes, always a good reminder for 2-factor authentication. And what I would say for anyone who's trying to start a YouTube channel or is starting a YouTube channel, take the email you use to start that channel and make sure it's a non-public email. Like, make up a Gmail address and make sure it's not something that's public facing. It's not the email address you're using to do business. A completely separate and locked down in a way that you're like, this is inconvenient and annoying. You know you're doing it right. If it feels like a giant pain in the ass, you're doing it correctly. Create a separate email address for your YouTube channel. And that can be a separate email address than what you use to watch YouTube on, so that your channel that you're making content on and your channel that you're watching content on are separate. Totally fine. So hopefully that helps. Shall we try to see if we can get the beginning of this video to play? Should we try? Should we try? I feel like if the video gets out of sync, we just end the video at the end. But we can give it a try and watch at the beginning and see what happens. Chat, do we want to do that? If it gets out of sync, we'll just end the stream. That's why we left it till the end. I mean, let's look at the beginning and see what happens. Fingers crossed. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but are we a Reacts channel? I mean, maybe. Do we mind being a Reacts channel once in a while? Not really. We don't mind. We don't mind at all. Gray Mouser said, I recommend a totally separate email for PayPal too. Yes. Yes. Sure. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. I mean, if we break it, we break it. So RK, I didn't see one. Let me go back and look. But I see the comment, but I don't see one at all. Enchanted Wing said, when Tati suits wants him back, do you think he was perfuming? Yes, but not in a good way. Like an overpowered electric youth kind of a way. Not in a subtle and delightful kind of a way. All right, let's see if we can make this work. Why not? We're here. But I will say, make sure you go and watch this on your own too, because go watch the whole video. We're gonna just do a quick little part of it. Let's see. Oh, what happened? What? All right. YouTube's being weird. And then we can all go and see what else is going on in Well, in the world and in sport, I'm going to go watch gymnastics. Why am I Googling YouTube on YouTube? Let's see. Let's get to the beginning of this video and see if this works. I'm going to have to change a little bit of audio around apparently because I didn't do all of this. All right. Law nerds. Fingers crossed. I really hope this works. We'll see. All right. We'll see what happens. You know, it's court related, so why not? We're a Reacts channel. It's totally court related. It's totally court related. It's totally court related. Let's see if it works. Let's see. Volume. We've got volume. Like check one, check one. We've got volume there. We've got volume there. All right. Fingers crossed.
And breathe. Everything's great. Everything's great.
Streaming is dynamic. That's how I feel all the time.
Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're just gonna chit chat. I have a few things to share with you. I was gonna turn this into like a quick update and then a favorites video, but I'm gonna do the favorites video next because I have a lot of juicy, new, just amazing products that I wanna share with you that I discovered over the past couple of months, some while traveling. It's been a whirlwind. It's been like, she's here, she's there, she's everywhere. And there's also been things behind the scenes going on. I would like to let you know when I'm wearing a blazer, it means there's an update. There's something serious. We're a little
the blazer's a law update. It's good to know the blazer is a law update. We're out of sync. Fantastic. That's a delight. I don't. All right, let me try one more time. Let's see if we can do it on a different browser. Are we doing a tech test? Maybe we're doing a tech test. We're like a minute in. We'll start on Miguelina. Let me try it on I can't do it on a different browser. We can do it. No, we can't. No, we can't. It is, you guys are saying the video and the audio is wildly out of sync. Let me try it a different way and see if that works. But, we're going to have to figure it out before we go to court again. So for everybody that's like, Emily, we need another trial. No, we need to figure this. We need to figure this out. It fixed before I paused it. Well, let's try it. Let's try it again and see. But the audio on Tati's video is good. So let's see. It fixed itself. All right. Well, let's try again. Let's see if this helps. Chat, you'll let me know.
Tuned in. And I want to talk about Halo Beauty for a moment.
Okay.
The lawsuit
We're here for
a
it.
moment.
Yep, that we want to talk about.
I do want to talk a little bit about the Tati list, things in the future. And then I did a little Q&A on IG. And you guys always surprise me with how many questions you ask me. And then also I have to say thank you so much because whenever I ask you, like, what book should I read next? Or like, what's your opinion on XYZ? It amazes me how many of you guys will take the time to respond. Like literally, I have books for the rest of my life. I mean, having a community is fantastic. You guys recommended them to me, so thank you for that. But yeah, you guys are the best with. All right, you guys. Perfect. I have a big update.
Roll up the sleeves. I want to hear it.
The litigation update, the grand finale. What I want to know. I will not be talking about this any further. I wanted to share with you guys that it's settled. I want to know. A lot of you guys wanted to know when trial was happening. You know, August was the month.
It was supposed to be August.
Coming in hot. It is not happening because we ended up getting on the phone, hammering things out without lawyers, and we are at peace with it. I will be moving on from Halo Beauty.
Oh, she is leaving Halo.
And the good thing,
got on the phone without lawyers and is walking away from Halo Beauty. That's wild.
Is I can now focus my energy on relaunching my makeup brand. With that being said, I have the utmost confidence in the Halo Beauty brand and I wish it continued success. And that's it? That's a wrap. The past 4 years are done. It's over. And I just wanted to share with you guys that that's what happened. And now the good news is I have my name back. It looks like she's wearing Halo Beauty on her eyes too. And I feel free and I feel excited to relaunch and do new
Okay,
things,
well,
get creative.
those are the answers
I was
we were
at the
looking
time
for.
of all the litigation, whatnot, working on a fragrance line. I don't know if a lot of you guys know about that, but I was knee deep.
We know that. We know that. You know why we know that? Because we read all the fucking documents. We did know that. We did know that. We knew it was coming. We knew it. We knew the fragrance was coming.
A fragrance line, a candle line. I had gone to New York and I had like a whole presentation and we were already working on things. I had trademarked the name, but litigation got in the way of a lot of different things, not just Tati Beauty. So I'm someone that loves creating product. I love just the whole process, the marketing, the packaging, the functionality, doing something different that I think is needed in the marketplace, kind of taking something like even with Tati Beauty, it was taking an everyday makeup palette.
I love that palette.
Organizing it in a way that would make more sense, in my opinion, with the color setup, how the colors were monochromatic.
I loved it.
And in rows,
I thought it was great.
with
It's a
different
great palette.
textures.
Yep.
So you can count on me always to find a way to make whatever product it might be something a little leveled up, a little bit different, to be more functional, to stand out from the crowd. And I asked you guys over on IG, like, what?
Right. So there's the updates. All right. And in Tati's video, she updates that she is stepping away from Halo Beauty, that the case was resolved by the parties getting on the phone without lawyers, which is wild to me. Also, it's the Eva trial changes things, right? When you are actually like looking at the money in a civil case that it's going to cost to go to trial, the eve of trial is a huge shift, and a lot of cases resolve at the eve of trial. So I'm not surprised that they settled. She said they settled. She said that she's stepping away from Halo and wishes it continued success. I don't know how that will work without her being the sales force behind it, but I guess we'll see. That she is looking at relaunching Halo Beauty and talked about the perfume that we've seen mentioned in the legal documents that she is interested in moving forward with and continuing to create products. So hopefully all of the parties will just be able to move on. But I know if you guys follow Tati, a lot has happened in her life in the last 4 years, moving and life and marriage and all of the things that she shared on her channel. But I think for a lot of people, the relaunch of Halo Beauty is something that's really exciting because it was a great palette. So there you go. She said she is free to use her name, and then she gets into a Q&A. I'm not going to get into that, but hopefully everybody has continued success, and that's hopefully, she said she was at peace with it. Hopefully everybody feels like they can take a deep breath and move on. And that's all you want at the end of a lawsuit, right? You want to be able to move on. And with civil lawsuits, it's wild because there isn't always a good resolution even after you go to trial. It's a very, very different than criminal cases. But even with criminal cases, even with convictions, family members and victims don't always feel like it's resolved. But being done allows people to move on. So hopefully being done allows people to move on. So Steph asked, will you cover the new GAD filing and baby reindeer? I will. I don't know if I'm going to cover it on the podcast next week or stream next week. I haven't decided. So it's going to be me looking at the schedule for next week. And then as we are wrapping up, and I'm going to go eat lunch because I'm hungry. What time is it? I'm hungry. It's almost 2:00. Of course you're hungry, Emily. It's almost 2:00. Let me look at the calendar real quick because I don't even remember what day it is. And next week I've got a lot going on. We've got the state fairs next week, or the county fairs next week. We've the back to school ness is a whole situation. So next week, here's what we're looking at, and I will update you guys in the app as well at what we're looking at going forward. So did I say Halo Beauty? Tati Beauty. Tati Beauty is going forward. Halo is what she's walking away from. So when I'm looking at next week, here's where we're at. Oh God, is next week August 5th? Oh my God. Next week's August 5th. So next week there is a hearing in the Corey Richards case. So we have a lot of Corey Richins updates, and we've got documents of calls. So next week, we've got a Corey Richins update that has to happen and a Corey Richins hearing. Catherine said, did you resolve the StreamYard issues? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. So next week, for things I'm going to be streaming, we've got the Corey Richins motion hearing that I'm really interested in because they're trying to recuse like the entire district attorney's office. I don't know if that'll be streamed. I have reached out to ask if it's going to be streamed, so I don't know. Does Corey Richins have a new attorney? Yes, we'll cover it early next week. She has a I think court-appointed counsel and private counsel. So then Karen Reed has a hearing next week on Friday. So we're going to be streaming on Friday as well because, well, we're covering that Karen Reed hearing on Friday next week. Then we've got Girardi starting jury selection. That's not going to be streamed. That's in federal court. I have so many kid obligations. I'm not going to be going to LA with that. There's a small percentage of you that are still interested. So I will be trying to keep up to date with updates. Most of those are probably going to be in the app, but some of those will be either on the maybe on the podcast this week as that gets ready to go to trial. But Girardi's trial is going to mirror everything that happened in the bankruptcy that we already know. So I don't think we're going to get any new. Koberger hearing coming up later in the month. Koberger's not coming up next week. So next week, 2 court dates that I'm keeping an eye on. I don't know if Corey Richins is going to be streamed. If it is, I'm going to cover it. If it's not, we'll cover it after the fact because it'll be released after the fact. Sometimes Utah does that. It just depends on the court, and it depends on who is the camera pool for that. Then we've got a Karen Reed hearing on August 9th, Friday. I'm going to be covering that live. That's going to be Friday afternoon, so that'll go into the evening, maybe. But that's the hearing we've been waiting for in the Karen Reed case about the jurors. That's oral argument. I don't expect a ruling. ZS, what is Girardi facing? Under 30 years, but I would have to go back and look. But no, not life. It's a white collar crime case. So no. And he's in federal court and there's no stacking of financial crimes. Like South Carolina stacks financial crimes. Federal court does not, and neither does California. So that's where we're at for next week. So we're going to try to get as many updates as we can for the podcast and on Tuesday's stream ahead of Corey Richins and Karen Reed. And then we've got Adelson stuff coming up. We've got members only coming up on the 14th. So there's lots to happen in the law. We were kind of in the last moment of taking a breath and catching up on cases before we go galloping into, well, probably the Adelson trial is next. So with all of that, I've also got kids going back to school. So thank you for your patience. Stay tuned in the app because if I need to modify schedule, it's going to be a busy few weeks in personal life with kids getting back to school. So that's what we're going to do. So with all of it, updates will be in the app. I will also keep you updated on the community tab here. Law nerds, I appreciate you. 2 case closed today. Look at us getting stuff done. So future updates on these? No. We're done. We're done. And with all of it, I've said with all of it 900 times. We're done. You're done. We're done. I'm done. Have a wonderful Thursday, Law Nerds. I will be keeping you up to date on what I'm watching, sport-wise, in my Instagram story, scheduling-wise, in the Law Nerd app, and I will see you soon. Bye. You can stay up to date with everything I'm covering and fast notifications on our free iOS and Android app at lawnerdapp.com or search the App Store for Law Nerd. You can also follow me around social media, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Emily Show, with quick bits dropping every Monday, summarizing everything I do here on the live streams on Tuesday and Thursday for when you just have time for the quick bits. Thanks for being a Law Nerd.